You could not ask for a better day in Miami. A gorgeous day, but the Cardinals are ready to get home, and with a win today, could go 6-3 on a 9-game road trip. Hey, what a great day for baseball in South Florida. The Cardinals wrap up a 9-game road trip, a 3-game series here with the Marlins. They try for the sweep here this afternoon. And welcome back to the ballpark, everybody. Joe Buck and Al Roboski with you. The Cardinals with a win could go to 6-3 on the road trip, but they have to get a good start from Alan Watson.
Well, Alan Watson needs a good start for himself. It's been better than a month since he's last had a victory, and he just has to regroup, refocus, find himself, find out what kind of pitcher he is.
We have a new toy, a new gadget that we're going to show you throughout the day. It's called the pitch tracker. You get a good look at Bernard Gilkey, who hit a 3-run home run in the top of the 9th inning last night. Here's a look at the pitch, up and in. And we'll give you a better view of it, Al Roboski, as to where it was located exactly through the pitch tracker.
See, it comes from a left-hander.
The pitch tracker showing that the ball is up and in, the inside portion of the plate, and a little bit up, and Gilkey jumped all over it.
Left-hander throws it across, trying to get inside. Bernard, a wrist hitter, uses his hands so well that he turns on that pitch. About an 85-mile-an-hour fastball. He turns on it and hits the ball out of the ballpark.
A look at Joe Torre. His ball club looking for the sweep here today in Florida. Now a peek at his lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It is just plain smart. Ray Lankford will lead off in center. Louis Alicea will bat second. He gets the start today. Greg Jeffries back in the lineup hitting third. Todd Zeile hit a mammoth home run here last night. Bernard Gilkey, a hero of last night's game, batting fifth. Brian Jordan is in right. Terry McGriff is the catcher. Jose Oquendo is playing short today. Alan Watson batting ninth. He'll do the pitching. Here's the defense for the Marlins. Conine in left. Everett in center. Jerry Brown in right. Again, Carr out of the lineup, with Renteria, Abbott, Barbary, Destrade on the infield. Benito Santiago, who homered here last night, is catching a tough right-hander, David Weathers.
Well, this guy has been a real force. He had won 5 straight games earlier. He lost one, and then he had a no decision his most recent outing. 53-plus innings, walked 21, struck out 26, allowed 4 home runs. But he comes right at you, a real good competitor.
Lankford looks at a strike over the outside corner, and we're underway. Ray Lankford 1 out of 7 in this series overall, hitting .314. He averaged down a little, but still very productive in that leadoff spot.
Weathers, his best pitch probably is the sinking fastball. Threw the first pitch for a strike, then he runs a fastball up and in here to keep him honest. Probably go back away.
Breaking ball, fly ball into left, a long run for Conine. He can't get there. Extra bases. It'll be at least 3. Lankford will get to third, a leadoff triple, and a great start. Jeff Conine could not get to it, and Lankford with a smile standing on third.
Well, he needed one more double for 100 in his career. He picked up his 500th hit last night. But here the breaking ball, and starts on the outside, breaks to the inside. They had played him way around, so Conine leaves his feet trying to make the brilliant play, and when you don't come up with it, that means Ray gets another base or 2.
Now the batter Alicea trying to give the Cardinals a first-inning lead, and Weathers gives him a good look at the baseball, something Alicea has not had lately, batting only .171. Cardinals need to get him going. Runner at third, nobody out, and Alicea, the fly ball into left, slicing in the corner, drops foul. 1-1. This would be a nice start for Alan Watson, you would think, to get him a lead, but heck, Al, that happened the last time. 3 runs in the first inning, and he couldn't hang on.
Only pitched 2 innings in that ball game, but you can see his teammates are trying to just go out there and make things a more relaxed atmosphere for him.
Alicea, the line drive off Renteria. That'll be a hit, and it's first and third, nobody out. Lankford has to stick, and that's a good base running play. He had nowhere to go. That ball should have been caught.
should have been caught. You're right. And if Langford goes, then he would have been doubled off right there at the third baseman. He's playing in, and then you see after the ball gets away, but the shortstop, young shortstop, but he was right there in position, keeps runners at the corners, but Cardinals don't get on the scoreboard because of Kurt Abbott, the shortstop.
First and third, nobody out for Jeffries. A triple followed by a single, which is how they have ruled that ball hit by Alicea. And Jeffries trying to add to his RBI total of 21.
Greg originally was not in the lineup today. Been battling a bone bruise in his hand, but he wanted in there.
And he looks at a strike. 1-1.
Greg also is 2 for 2 off this young right-hander.
Weathers in first inning trouble. First and third and nobody out. And a little squiver will get Alicea down to second, but Jeffries is out. He doesn't do the job. It's second and third, one out for Zeal.
Greg shaking his head. Watch this pitch right here. Slider, just cut fastball slider type action. And they say this guy a very good competitor. Pitched most of last year in Triple-A at Edmonton. He was 11-4 ERA under 4. And he got a September call up to the Marlins.
Second and third, one out for Zeal. Ball one. The Cardinals have had quite a bit of early inning success. The Cardinals have scored first in 8 straight games. They have won 4 in a row, trying to make it 5 here today. And that straightens up Zeal in the count 2-0. Zeal hit a blast last night over dead center field over the 434 mark. Second and third, one out. Zeal didn't mean to do it. A little slider on 2-0.
We've had conflicting reports. Chris Chambliss saw Weathers in the minor leagues, said he's got a great slider, above average stuff. Then I talked to some of the advanced scouts. They said his sinking fastball is the best pitch, but they all agree he's got pretty good stuff.
That's well hit the left center field. At the track, at the wall, caught. A run will score. Alicea tags, is trying to make it to third. He's safe, and it's 1-0 Cardinals. Langford scores on the sac fly, a 361-foot sac fly off the bat of Zeal. And Rene Latchman will trot out and talk to the umpire, but looks safe from up here, and the Cardinals lead 1-0.
I thought it was an excellent play. Randy Marsh is the umpire at second base. The rotation here, you see the third base umpire is out there in the outfield, so the second base umpire is hustling over here. He's in perfect position, and he sees it correctly. You can already see that Rene Latchman can't endure himself to umpires. He's argued on virtually every play.
Latchman back to the dugout. Here is a look at the pitch to Zeal, which he almost got out of here, just under it a little too much. Where was it on the pitch tracker? Inside, maybe a little low and in.
There you can see how it leaves the pitcher's hand at 91 miles an hour and then crosses the plate about 85. So if you were to hear a gun measurement, it would be about 89 miles an hour. That's how they would register that, you know, when on a radar gun.
Gilkey checks his swing, and he's ahead on the count, 2-0. Runner at third, one out, make that 2 outs, and the Cardinals lead it 1-0 here in the top of the first inning. Gilkey had a big night last night, drove home 4. Ahead on the count here, 3-0 with Jordan next.
At the time when he hit a 3-run home run late in the ball game, we thought it was just extra cushioning. It became very important.
It was the difference. A little high, and a 2-out walk puts runners on at the corners for Brian Jordan. 2-out triple, followed by an infield hit off the bat of Alicea. Jeffries tapped out to the pitcher. The second and third for Zeal, a sac fly to the wall in left center field to score Langford. Alicea went from second to third. That's followed now by a walk to Gilkey, and it's first and third, 2 out for Brian Jordan, hitting .210. Ball 1. Jordan has had a chance to play in each game here in Florida, and in the series 3 out of 8. Had a 2-hit game, the opener on Friday night.
500 a year ago against Marlins pitching.
2-0, and Weathers, even though he's given up only 1 run, has had a long first inning. May be wondering why Mark Whitten is not in the lineup. He's bothered by a bad shoulder he suffered in that slide coming home, in which he was called out the opening game of this series, the 6th inning on Friday night. He is available to pinch hit today, but Joe Torre did not want to push him. Gives him the day off, and Brian Jordan right back in there. 2-0 pitch from Weathers into right field. Right fielder got a good look at it and makes the grab as Brown puts it away. Cardinals get a run on 2 hits. They lead 2, and they've given Alan Watson a first inning 1-0 lead. Bottom of the first inning, 1-0 Cardinals, and that big Cardinal fan, Yakov Smirnoff, we just saw in that spot, has to be a very happy man. Cardinals have given Alan Watson a lead, and we look at the Florida batting order. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It's just plain smart. They'll lead it off with Carl Everett and Renteria playing third. Benito Santiago hitting third. Jeff Conine the cleanup man. Then Destrade, Jerry Brown, Kurt Abbott, Brett Barbary hitting 8th. Dave Weathers on the mound batting 9th. The defense for the Cardinals: Gilkey, Langford, Jordan, Zeal, Oquendo, Alicea, Jeffries. Terry McGriff making the start against his former team. Alan Watson 2-2, but a big ERA on the mound.
His last win came on April the 19th. He has not won his last 5 starts.
First pitch away, and we'll be talking about that for the better part of the afternoon, seeing the approach of Alan Watson, who needs to pitch inside to be effective. Into right field, well hit, but Jordan is there. And the leadoff man is retired, Everett, now 0 for 7 in this series.
Alan Watson throws across his body, so naturally it's going to be a little bit tougher for him to get inside. He did so when he first came up to the big leagues, and he did so in spring training when Joe Coleman and Joe Torre were very pleased with him. But lately he has had an awful lot of trouble trying to throw inside, so hitters have a tendency to look in one spot and one spot only, away, or he throws it right down the middle. You see how he's standing. You see how he throws across his body. And to come inside, it's very difficult.
Every pitch that Alan Watson has thrown so far has been outside. Here's Renteria hitting .235. Leadoff man retired, and Rich now looks at a strike. Again outside, 2-1. Now it begs the obvious question, why doesn't that change? Why does he continue to pitch outside?
See, there he's trying to come in, and he does so this time. But it's a little bit more of an effort. It puts more strain on the shoulder. It puts more strain. But a lot of pitchers, a lot of left-handers do throw, across their body. The problem that Allen has is that he really has no breaking pitch. So he's a 2-pitch pitcher. Becomes a fastball and throws a changeup. The changeup you always want to throw away.
Santiago looks at a pitch high. Benito hit his 100th career home run here last night, his second of this season, hitting .288. Into center on a line, right at Langford, diving catch, and he couldn't hang on. He had it in the glove, but then it squirts out, and Benito Santiago has a 2-out hit.
Playing on grass, you can be a little more aggressive out there. Pitch away. Hit right back up the middle. Langford comes in here, and on grass you can afford to try. He never did catch the ball.
No, never had it.
Never did catch it. But on grass you can smother the ball a little bit like he does here. It fades away from him, you know, because it's off the bat of a right-handed batter, and he does a good job of keeping it right there with his body. Doesn't get behind him.
Conine sees one inside. Ball one, strike one as he went after it.
And that was maybe one of the most important pitches. It was a breaking ball. He can just throw a few breaking pitches, keep the right-handed batters honest, then he can get them out outside. But there's times when he thinks he's pitching inside, but he leaves it over the middle half of the plate.
2-out hit by Benito Santiago, and the batter is Conine, who leads the Marlins in home runs and RBIs while in their lineup today.
It's going to be a fastball inside.
And he missed away with it. Their home run leader is Sheffield, who's on the disabled list. So Conine is their man. He is their big thumper in their lineup.
Fastball in.
Runner at first, 2 out.
Under directions from the dugout are throwing to first, apparently.
Alan Watson keeping an eye on Santiago.
It's another thing that he shouldn't even throw over there.
Going away with it now to Conine. 1-1 pitch. Came back over the middle of the plate, and the count 1-2. Everett led off. He flied to right. Renteria did the same. Santiago a line drive to center, and Joe Torre looking for Watson to get Conine and end the first. The Cardinals scored a run in their half.
Back inside.
Even in 2-2.
But even that's fine. That's fine as long as you make a hitter conscious that you're going to throw pitches inside where he can't dive out over the plate. And if you miss, you know, inside off the plate. Now to see how effective the changeup will be down and away.
Spoiled it.
Had him reaching for it. It was up, not the place where he wanted it, but with the intent of throwing a couple pitches inside, it makes the hitter back off a little bit. They aren't too eager to dive out over the plate.
Two out and a man at first. Bottom of the first inning. 1-0 Cardinals.
Back inside. Can't get there.
3-2.
If maybe we can show from our camera angle, if you watch how he sets up on the rubber, he's really kind of facing straight ahead towards the on-deck circle. The Marlins on-deck circle. It's more pronounced when he's in a windup than in a stretch.
A hit and a walk here in the first inning, and Alan Watson now in first inning trouble. He'll face Destrade, and Joe Torre watches Destrade walk to the plate. He's got to be a little distraught in what he is seeing from Watson. Right back to the same old form. Alan Watson has got to pitch effectively, Al, to stay on this ball club right now.
Well, I mean, here's another aspect to it. He's the youngest member of the Cardinals team, but just watch his mannerisms out there. I mean, he looks confused. He doesn't show you that aggressive attitude that I can't wait to get that ball and throw it right by a hitter.
2 on, 2 out. Estrade came up empty. Orestes hitting .210. 5 home runs and 13 RBIs. Estrade could tie the game with a base hit, could give the Marlins a lead with an extra base hit. Center field. Gilkey will watch it go to the wall. The tying run is scored. Here comes Conine. The throw to the plate. Conine is safe at the plate, and it's 2-1 Marlins. Gilkey bobbled it in left center field, and that might have cost the out. A 2-run, 2-out double by Destrade.
Estrada now is 4 for 5 against Alan Watson. Watch this ball out over the plate. Tries it into left center. Gilkey tries to play it off the wall. Here will be the first runner, or this second one. This is Conine trying to come in here. The trailer threw the ball to Terry McGriff, and the ball's up a little bit. He slides right underneath it.
Gilkey, along with bobbling the ball, then missed the initial cutoff man. And it was Alicea instead of Oquendo throwing the ball home. The Marlins now have the lead. As Jerry Brown looks at strike one, and now we're back to everything outside or middle of the plate. As Watson did in his last start, he has squandered an early lead. 3-0 the last time. This time 1-0. 1-1 pitch. That hits the bag, stays on the infield. Here comes Destrade. Now he stops, and it'll be first and third, 2 out. What a break for the Cardinals. That ball hit the bag and stayed on the infield. Otherwise, it'd be 3-1.
Very good point, Joe. Most of the time, when it hits the bag, it costs you an opportunity to make an out. Zeal was not going to field that ball, but here it goes straight up. It does get behind him, but not far enough. Good instincts by Todd. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. So Destrade has a play right there. Then he thinks about going, but wisely he held up.
While we have this moment, we would like to give our very best wishes and say hello to our good friend Don Thompson, who is the guard outside the clubhouse door and does a little bit of everything for Buddy Bates, and he'd like to send his best along with the staff and all the players to Don Thompson, and we say get better soon, and we'll see you when we get back home.
That's right. What would it be like without Don? You know, Doggy was a fixture there for many years, and now Don's assumed that role. I go all the way back when he was a bullpen guard. He was the guard sitting down on the bench down in the bullpen. So he
taught you everything you know.
He taught me everything I know. He was right. Taught me how to be tough.
A chance for the Marlins here to have a big first inning. They've scored 2 and have 2 on, 2 out for the shortstop Abbott. Ball 1. Abbott 3 out of 8 in this series, hitting .239.
All coming with 2 outs. 3 hits and a walk.
That should end the inning. Oquendo flips, and that'll do it for the Marlins. They get 2 runs on 3 hits, and they leave 2. Each team scored in the first inning, and after one, 2-1 Florida. Into the second inning here in Florida, 2-1 Marlins. Cardinals got a lead. Alan Watson gave it up and then won. A Visa or MasterCard is all you need to purchase your Cardinal tickets by phone. Ticket agents are waiting to take your call Monday through Saturday from 8 in the morning until 5 in the evening. There's the number, 314-421-2400. Hitting it off will be Terry McGriff, bottom 3 in the lineup coming up. Terry looks at ball 1. He's hitting .268. Right back up the middle. That's got a chance. Abbott catches up to it, bobbles it, and got him at first.
I think Jose Cardinal, the first base coach, is saying that the throw pulled Destrade off the base. Ball up the middle, and on grass it doesn't go as quickly. Watch here. Lost the handle on it. put it back in his glove, regrouped, throws off balance. Take a look here. Goes to through, see how it loses it? And then he throws off balance. Watch this throw. Jose was saying he pulled his foot, but I think the replay said he was on.
Here's Oquendo. Jose digs in. He was a starter in last night's game, was 0 for 4. Hitting .265 overall this season. He bends back from ball 2. 2-0 pitch. He's taken. 3-0.
The Cardinals have 4 ball players that hit much better during the day. Oquendo is one of them, and look at the disparity, the differential there. 407 during the day and under 100, right at 100 at night.
I think Dave Weathers knew. He gave Oquendo a 1-out walk. Let's pause 15 seconds for station ID on the Cardinal Television Network. Watson digs in. He'll try to bunt. Pops it up. First base side, foul ball. Alan Watson, as is well documented, really prefers to swing the bat. But he better do the fundamentals right, because not much in his game at this moment is going right.
Joe, this is his 9th start. So in 8 starts previously, he's only been to the plate 15 times.
Tells you he's not lasting very long. Oquendo, a 1-out walk. Watson missed it, tipped it into the mid of Santiago, and it's 0-2.
Good hitter.
Looks like he's never tried to bunt before.
That's the point I'm going to make. Obviously, you know, his head, his concentration, the focus, everything. You know, I mean, he's pitching now at home plate, and when he's at home plate, he's swinging away.
There you go. They might get a force out at second base if somebody covers. A base hit for Watson, and it's 2 on with 1 out. Well, you know he prefers to do that. He couldn't get the bunt down, so he swings away. And it's 2 on with 1 out for the top of the order, Ray Langford.
Fake bunt and hit. Hits it right back up the middle. Solid single. Oftentimes you want to tell someone you have to hit down on it so you don't hit a line drive into a double play. There, he got enough height.
Langford with 2 on, 1 out. Cardinals could jump right back on top, or with a hit, at the very least tie the game. It's 2-1 Marlins. We're in the top of the 2nd inning. And both pitchers are far from dominating in the early going.
Weathers was the 2nd selection by the Marlins in the expansion draft.
Langford tripled and scored his first time. He looks at ball 1 up and in.
Excuse me, he was the 2nd pick in the 2nd round of the expansion draft, 29th overall.
And in 2 games against the Cardinals, Al, 0-1. Made 1 start against the Cardinals and lasted only 2 1/3 innings. That was toward the tail end of last season. Langford, a late swing, strike 2. August, should say September 26th. Weathers pitched 2 1/3 innings against the Cardinals here. Went 2 1/3 and allowed 6 runs on 8 hits. 2 on, 1 out.
Toronto organization.
Langford went after a bad pitch down and in, strikes out. First strikeout for Weathers, and it will be up to Louis Alicea. That's that pitch that Langford's been laying off most of this season. Wouldn't go for it, and Weathers now has 2 on, 2 out.
Let's take a look at the pitch right here. Bottom fall out of that. He commits and goes right around.
Here's Alicea. Luis, a line drive off the 3rd baseman Renteria's glove for a hit. His first time up, and he needed it. Raised his average 10 points with that hit. hitting 181. He's driven in 5. Luis Alicea has not driven in a run in quite a while, however. 16 games to be exact. 16 games in which he has played.
Yeah, when you're not playing every day, those things a long time in coming.
2 on with 2 out. We have the makings of a long afternoon here in Florida today.
We don't mind if we win.
1-1 pitch. Got the corner inside part. 1-2. While Santiago talks it over with Weathers, and 2 on 2 out. Buddy Bates, the Cardinal equipment manager, would like to wish a happy birthday to his stepdaughter, Susan Thurston. So happy birthday, and hopefully a Cardinal win today. And that would lead to a Cardinal sweep. They've won the first 2 games here in Florida. Count stays 1-2.
Weathers has had success getting in on left-handed batters. He's changed speeds there.
Two on, 2 out, 1-2 pitch. Not very good speed on the bases for the Cardinals with Oquendo and Watson aboard. Alicea trying to chase him around the bases nonetheless. 2-2. That's well hit into right center field. Back is Brown. It's over his head. 1 run will score. Watson will be held at third, and the game is tied at 2. Alicea 2 for 2. An RBI double has tied the game. And the 1-out walk to Oquendo comes back to haunt Weathers.
You have to be happy for Alicea because he needed this, and oftentimes you'll push yourself or try and do too much when you're at hometown. See, the pitch is up, out away from him, and he drives the ball. All hitters like the ball away from them. They like to get their arms extended. And if hitters like to get their arms extended, it just makes common sense they don't like the ball inside.
Now Jeffries looks at a pitch nicely saved by Santiago.
Santiago last year and the past couple years, that ball right there would eat him up. He would just swipe at it, real lazy. But this year somebody has gotten to him and have shaken him up a little bit to where he is becoming a much better defensive catcher and hitting for a higher average.
I believe they're going to put Jeffries on here with the intentional walk to get to Zeal. You saw that reaction. Zeal almost went deep his first time and hit a sac fly to left center. And if you're Jeffries and you're bothered by a bone bruise on your thumb, I don't think you mind this too much.
I think Jeffries doesn't want to walk. They did that, so walking him 3 times in Friday night's Cardinal win. But he hits left-handers and right-handers pretty well. Not a lot of difference between them. But you look at Todd Zeal, he's hitting only .228 against right-handers, .323 against left-handers. If a pitcher doesn't make a good pitch, he's got a chance to hit a grand slam.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, what has he done for us lately? Just a sacrifice fly last time, but I want the big one.
Strike 1. Bases loaded, 2 out here in the inning. Defensively deep and straight away. Zeal trying to put the Cards on top again. And saved by Santiago.
Threw a slider for a strike, and then he comes with a little harder slider, a little further away, and Zeal didn't offer.
Bases loaded for Zeal. Inside corner. He's been able to hit the inside corners on both left-handers and right-handers.
See, it's so important for him to do so. He can work that fastball on the inside corner. See, there's that sinking fastball, tailed back a little bit, but it's dipping down. and then he can get, he's coming back again.
Ripped to third. Renteria will go the short route. And the force out will end the inning. The Cardinals do get a run on an RBI double by Luis Alicea. Bottom of the second inning, tied at 2. We move into the bottom of the second inning. The game is now tied at 2. The Cardinals have out-hit the Marlins 4-2, and they've left 5 men on already. The Cardinals had the bases loaded for Zeal in the top of the second inning. Here's the second to last pitch, Al, called for strike 2.
See, it's called for a strike inside. It clearly is a ball by our pitch tracker, but it makes him swing at this pitch because the last one was called. So this time it is still a ball in theory. About a 89-mile-an-hour sinker on the inside part. He hit it well, just right to the third baseman.
Here's a strike into Brett Barbary leading off. Weathers to follow the pitcher. Then Everett. 2-2 the score. Watson back to work. Ball and a strike.
Maybe we can show you now how Watson throws across his body to the right-handed batters.
He really closes himself off. Ground ball to Alicea. Gets a nice hop and throws him out, 1 away.
Alan Watson, and this is something that a lot of left-handers do. It makes you, puts you in position to be effectively pitching to the outside, and very difficult to pitch inside to right-handed batters. He gets on the mound. He's really almost facing towards the Marlins on-deck circle. Not straight in towards home plate. He's off to the side. You see where he's, now look at it, look where his back is. He's throwing to the left. And then to try and throw the ball inside, he's got to come all the way across his body. And as you mentioned, Joe, we're talking about how he blocks himself off.
Where he steps. He steps. Closes his body off to the plate, then has to bring the arm around and throw across his entire body.
And sometimes you'll see where, you know, he's sitting at an angle. He's not facing home plate. He's at an angle. Now that front leg will land, and then he's got to come over the top of it. So it's very difficult from that arm angle to throw the ball inside.
Now he falls behind on the count to the pitcher. 2-1. An 0-45 hitter.
He has struck out his last 8 consecutive times also.
Wouldn't want to break that streak. Might get a chance. 3-1. And 2. Watson still looking for his first strikeout. Got the leadoff man Barbary. The pitcher up there now. And he went after a low delivery to stay in there.
See where he is. He's not facing home plate. He's facing towards the first base dugout. And then that foot lands there. He's got it. He lands. He's got. Only can really throw to the right outside portion.
Weathers has been able to spoil a couple of pitches. Now he'll walk back to the bat rack and pick any bat that anybody hands him.
Got to let that. You've got to hold that front shoulder for the pitcher. The left-hander's got to hold that front shoulder in. But then he really has to step and open up with his lead leg. You got to open up.
He walked him. Second walk issued by Watson. It's a 1-out walk to Weathers. It was 1 out of 22. That'll bring in Carl Everett. Well, let David Weathers sit out there in that sun and bake a little while longer. I'm sure that's not what Watson had in mind, but to accentuate the positive. Here's Everett. Goodbye. big league home run in the career of Carl Everett. Makes it 4-2 Marlins.
Walk the pitcher, so you say, I'm going to throw a strike. Over the middle of the plate, and this kid rocketed.
Rich Renteria digs in. Ball and a strike. I mean, it's just a completely different approach by Watson than we saw all of spring training in the first few starts that he had. Completely different pitcher.
He's lost all of his confidence. What happens when he tries to throw inside. It's not inside, it's inner half, and it's Renteria hits his second home run.
Cardinals have their hands tied a little bit with regard to who do you go to. Watson is obviously not ready to pitch today again, and who do you have in the bullpen as a long relief man after Eversgerd went 5 2 nights ago?
Well, he kind of slings this ball there, but look at that. See where that pitch is? Right in the middle, right in the heart of the zone. He's allowed 10 home runs on the year.
Benito Santiago singled and scored his first time. It was his 2-out hit. It led to 2 first-inning runs. The Cardinals are down by 3. Santiago ahead on the count, 2-0. This rally started on a walk to the pitcher Weathers. Well, they're just going up there flailing.
The other aspect, he hasn't done anything to make them uncomfortable in the batter's box. When he tries to come inside, he doesn't get inside far enough. It leaves it over the middle of the plate. And see, and you're constantly away. A hitter can just look for it, can dive out over there, or trying to come inside. Santiago well off the plate. He said, hey, throw one like in half here.
Ball 3, 3-2. No action whatsoever in the Cardinal bullpen, and I said it earlier. Who do you have down there after Eversgerd had to pitch 3 innings, make that 5 innings 2 nights ago, and Real Cormier's bothered by a bad shoulder?
Well, they've told Rich Rodriguez hadn't had 3 days off in almost his entire career. He's been told that he's probably the long man. But once again, you're putting someone definitely out of their normal role.
That's ball 4. And Watson has lost it here in the 2nd inning. He's going to get a visit from manager Joe Torre, not the pitching coach, but time for the manager to talk to him.
Joe's going to tell him, I'm handicapped. I don't have fresh arms there. I still believe in you. But I want you to show me that you want to pitch. And pitch, not throw. Joe has a couple projects going on right now. The way he's been handling Perez, I think, is great. Trying to build his confidence back up. This is a real project.
This is a real problem.
he is going to be an effective pitcher. He is going to help us. It's just a question of when.
Here's Conine, 1 on, 1 out. That's foul down the line, strike 1. Conine, his first time, walked and scored on the 2-out, 2-run double by Destrade, who waits on deck. 5-2. We're only in the second inning, so plenty of time for the Cardinals to come back. But the question is, can Watson find it and shut down the Marlins here? They have the heart of their order coming up.
Allen, no move to first base, very slow to the plate.
Deep to left, and the third home run of the inning. 7-2. In the Cardinal bullpen finally, as Rich Rodriguez will crank it up. You just have to feel sorry for him right now. I mean, this has been an ugly inning. A 1-out walk to Weathers, a 2-run home run by Everett, followed by a home run by Renteria, followed by a walk, followed by a home run. And Destrade charges. Throws his glove. Watson does, and here's the brawl. You knew it was coming. I'll tell you what, Watson went right after Destrade. He didn't back off. Perfect example is I sit in the booth with someone who pitched in the 60s and 70s, in Al Raboski, where a guy is expected to throw inside, and then the other guy is expected to charge the mound.
There's a couple little fights on the peripheral. Langford wants a little bit of somebody. Royer's got a hold of Watson.
I'll tell you what, if there's one thing that's going to get the Cardinals back in this game, you just saw it.
At least Allen showed something that at least he has pride. Whether it was right or wrong, that's beside the point. Latchman has Destrade. He was hit by the pitch.
Memory serves me correctly, Watson threw at him, hit him in the backside. He didn't throw at his head. He didn't throw at the upper part of his body. But Destrade, who's almost, I think in this situation, in this day and age, expected to charge the mound, goes after Watson. And Watson, and I applaud Allen for it, stuck up for himself and went right after Destrade.
Yeah, I agree with that. Allen had to do something for his own pride, the respect of his teammates, because you and I have been knowing they've been calling certain things, certain names. The umpires are here getting together on this one. They're going to decide who is to be thrown out, who's not to be. But and you make a good point. He didn't throw at his head. He threw at the trunk of his body. Looked like it might have hit him on the hip. The rest of you says, yeah, I didn't do anything. I'm only four for 5 off you in my life. So you can understand that why it happened. Obviously, both benches will more than likely be warned, and rightfully so. Rodriguez will come in to pitch.
Well, if the Cardinals needed a wake-up call today, they got it. And I'm telling you, that sort of a thing can get them back into this game, or at least get them to a point where they can get back in. Here's the pitch. It was up a little bit, hits him on the front of the shoulder.
Yeah, now watch out.
Estrada goes after.
Yeah, he wasn't embarrassed here. He said, come on, come on. Throws his glove at him, and then he tries to tackle him. He does get popped in the right eye. There's the wallop right there. But, I mean, so you take one punch or two. Right now, he's regained some respect from his teammates. Langford, I'd like to see a camera on Langford.
Langford and Gilkey. Gilkey wanted a Keno in a bad way.
And I think he got a pretty good shot at a couple guys. And
Bob McClure, the former Cardinal, stepped in between Gilkey and Aquino.
I think, you know, and McClure is just trying to contain him. He's just trying to say, hey, come on, Bernard, come on. He didn't want to hear anything of it.
Galen Pitts holding back Aquino, who keeps coming after Gilkey.
And that, you know, Gilkey popped the umpire.
It's been a long series for Charlie Relaford, I'll tell you that.
Well, you could just see this going to happen, and it had to happen. The umpires are saying now, you know, we've got to restore some kind, or Joe's saying, hey, come on, you know, you got to understand, the guy's given up 3 straight home runs, or 3 in this inning. 3 home runs, 2 walks in this inning. Rodriguez, who Joe Torre told him last night, is that, you know, you're my long man. He's going to get the opportunity to warm up. And I think there's going to be a few more ejections. There's Ray Langford's glove out there. He's in the infield where all the Cardinal position players, except for Terry McGriff, behind home plate are. Renee Latchman, the Marlins pitcher, wasn't real happy with, I think, the umpires and how they're going to rule on this. Joe's out there with, he's out there with Randy Marsh. I think a couple of the outfielders may be ejected out of this game. I think that's what Joe's saying. Okay, take my pitcher, but don't take my hitters.
How can you discern in a melee like that who's doing what to who?
Well, I think that when you get hit in the back of the head, if you're an umpire, and you're trying, and you know that Langford's trying to go after, or Gilkey was trying to go after Aquino, and you've got your back to Gilkey and you get popped in the head, pretty good chance you think it's Gilkey.
The bad break is for the Marlins, it's Aquino.
Yeah.
For the Cardinals, it's likely Gilkey, although we don't know exactly which one of the other players. Jordan's doing most of the talking, but
yeah, Jordan's doing a lot of talking there too. And there's Bernard now. See, here's Bernard saying, wait a minute. You know, you made the good point earlier. You're down 7-2, but you're so early in the ball game. It's only the 2nd inning, so you say, hey, I can get back in this one. Joe's losing some position players. That's why he's upset.
Torrey now into it, and it's going to be Gilkey, it looks like, that will leave the game.
Yeah, see, when he tried, he was in that little spat with Aquino. Charlie Relaford was in front of him, and he tried to reach over him and he hit him in the back of the head. That's why I say he knew. Watch Gilkey here. See, the umpire is right there, and Bernard tries to go, and he hits the umpire in the back of the head. So he kind of says, well, wait a minute, I know who got me there.
Let's see where that pitch was on our pitch tracker. Inside, it drilled Estrada about front of the left shoulder as he was standing in there right-handed, and it came right across. Obvious intent of the pitch. Watson certainly got his point across. It was what, 89-mile-an-hour pitch.
I'd be anxious to see if that was thrown a little bit harder than a few of the last ones. Let's take a look at it. After 3 home runs were hit in the inning, he wanted to gain a little respect. Strada comes after him, but, you know, Watson held his ground and actually said, come on, and he wasn't afraid to mix it up.
The Cardinals, it's been a long road trip. Cardinals have been playing good baseball, have a chance with a win to end up 6-3. Luis Alicea will go out and play left field. Geronimo Pena will come into the game and play second base. We need to take a local break. We've got a long day ahead of us in Florida. Rich Rodriguez into the game to try to restore order. Cardinals trail the Marlins by 5. And as you said, it's Watson stepping up, defending himself, showing us his pride. And you know, you're going to get the letters, and there are going to be people that complain about that sort of thing in baseball, but it's always been in this game. It's a high, intense, and emotional game, and Watson stuck up for himself.
I was told one time, you know, when I was appealing, not the warning that I received, but I was appealing the fine for the fight. And I was told by the league president, I said, you know, okay, I pitch you in a lot and stuff like this, so I mean, your umpires felt that I needed a warning. That's fine. That's an automatic $50 fine. But you fine me another $350 for fighting. Why? The guy charged me. And the league president, Chuck Feeney, the late Chuck Feeney, said, well, you should have retreated back behind second base and let the peacekeepers intercede. And I said, well, I'm sorry. If that was the case, I think my professional career would be over if I were to run away from a guy coming out to the mound.
Joe Torre back out to make sure that the umpires are aware of the changes. Luis Alicea will move into the game and move from second to left field. Geronimo Pena into the game to play second base, with Gilkey being ejected. There's Pena. He's playing second. 1 on, 1 out, and Rodriguez facing Brown. 1 pitch, and he popped him up. Who wants it? Alicea looking for help, and he finds it in Langford out of center field. 1 pitch and the second out here in the second inning.
Joe, you and I both know that those pitchers make a living, and they have pride too. And you not only have to restore and get the Marlins to respect you, but your own teammates.
Watson had about 4 starts or 5 starts worth of frustration built up.
6.
And it all came exploding out here in the second inning with a ball jumping out of the park, and Watson had had enough. You know, he's out there and trying to make a living also.
That's my point. Whether it's right or wrong, it needed to be done for Alan Watson's psyche.
Here's Abbott. Runner at first, 2 out now. And the count 1-1. Rich Rodriguez was a little bit upset. He was reading the paper, which is never a good idea for a player. And it said who's hot and who's not, according to some sports writer here in town. It said who's not. Rich Rodriguez for the Cardinals. Laid out his stats, showing how little that reporter knew, because if he watched the Cardinals, and obviously he didn't get the chance, Rodriguez has been terrific. Runner going. McGriff throws it into center field as Pena into the game. Missed it. What else is going to go wrong?
Obviously, you know, Estrada was thrown out too. Just picked that up.
Estrada ejected, Matias Carrillo doing the running. This ball looked like it almost beat the runner down to second, and Pena just missed it.
Comes in there. I mean, it's thrown behind him a little bit, but obviously he really wasn't running full speed, Pena, to where he couldn't say, okay, let me go back up a step and catch the ball. That would at least conceded the stolen base, but it would have kept the runner at second, not third.
2-1 to Abbott.
I thought that was reporter went a little bit extreme, trying to pick on Rich.
Well, he looks at his numbers, and his ERA is over 4, and that might lead you to believe that he's not pitching well, but that's not the case at all. 2-2 pitch. Foul into right. Rodriguez has had some bad games, but as you and I have noted, and as we've talked with Rich about, it's been in some of the blowout games when it's been a tight tight game and you need an out, and especially a left-hander that you need to get out in the late innings, Rodriguez has been nearly perfect.
And when I talked to him about that situation, surprised me a little bit. He says, that's Latchman. That's Latchman.
Struck him out over the inside corner. And Rodriguez does indeed restore order. And he says, take that, Marlins. I pitch for the Cardinals now. Alan Watson will not pitch anymore in this game. After 2, the Cardinals trail by 5. National Baseball Club Incorporated. Solely for the entertainment of our audience, any publication, reproduction, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the St. Louis National Baseball Club Incorporated is, of course, prohibited. David Weathers has a 5-run lead. We'll see how he does with it. Cardinals, a couple here, a couple there. They're right back in it. We're only in the 3rd, and the Cardinals down 7-2. Geronimo Pena just into the game will lead off, batting in the spot originally occupied by Bernard Gilkey, who was ejected during the fight. Pena pops it up. He didn't wait long. Shortstop Abbott fights a tough Sun and makes the catch. 1 out.
Real tough high sky. Understand in that 2nd inning for Alan Watson, threw 24 pitches. 8 of them were inside. All 3 home runs were classified those inside pitches. But that's the problem. When he tries to go in, he leaves it middle half in. And because he throws across his body, the hitter, there's no deception. He sees the release point so well, and he can just track the pitch.
Here's Brian Jordan batting. Ryan fly to right his first time up. Seemingly 2.5 hours ago. What a long 2nd inning. Cardinals left the bases loaded in their half. The Marlins got 5 in their half. Now it's 3-0 on Jordan. Tell you what, if the Cardinals come right back and get a couple, they're in this game.
As you mentioned, Cardinals have stranded 5 already.
How about a walk on 4 straight with 1 out to Brian Jordan? That's already the 4th walk issued by Weathers. Going to bring in Terry McGriff with 3:45 for AAA Edmonton. AAA affiliate for the Florida Marlins last year, and got a call up at the end of last season to the Florida club.
This was the battery team. Weathers and McGriff at Edmonton.
Into right center field, pretty well hit, but who's going to make the grab? The right fielder, Matias Carrillo, cut in front of Everett. 2 out. A near collision, but Carrillo made the catch, and Everett doesn't want to talk to him. They didn't talk here, so he doesn't want to talk after the play. That's the center fielder's ball if he's there. He's got to call off the right fielder. Didn't look like he said anything. Weathers now dealing with Oquendo. 2 out in the inning. Oquendo walked and scored his first time. Down the right field line, it is curving foul. 0-2.
That would have been sweet if that would have been a fair ball. Brian Jordan run into Santiago at home.
Line drive caught by Abbott. That'll do it for the Cardinals in the 3rd. No runs, no hits, a walk, a man left. Cardinals have already left 6. They trail the Marlins bottom of the 3rd, 7-2. And we got action. Bottom of the 3rd inning. Cardinals down by 5 on Monday, May 23rd. Cardinals take on the Phillies. That's coming up. The 2nd in a series of 6 Magnet Mondays, sponsored by Mr. Goodwrench. Tomorrow night, all fans 15 and under with a paid admission receive a 2x3-inch refrigerator magnet featuring Greg Jeffries, courtesy of Mr. Goodwrench, tomorrow night. We hope to see you there. And then down the road, we'll have Bud Ice Can Cooler night in the ballpark.
A little ice draft right now. Ooh.
Rich Rodriguez back to work. Came in and got the final 2 outs in the bottom of the second. And here in the third, will face the number 8 hitter, Brett Barbary. What a day.
It's not over yet.
It certainly is not. Well, if you want a little good news, Los Angeles has scored 2 in the first inning at Cincinnati and lead 2-0 after 1 behind Estacio. I really think that Estacio is going to develop into one of the better pitchers in the league. He's nasty.
Yeah, he has an opportunity.
Barbary taps to third. Zeal backs up, almost slipped. Got his man, 1 out. See Zeal, his feet almost came out from under him.
Seen some bad bounces in this infield.
I've seen a lot of infielders complain about this infield.
Well, that's why I'm a little bit surprised that they water it, soak it so, you know, 2 or 3 different times. Well, that seems like it would just bake it and harden it.
I don't think Weathers has much of a chance here. Walked and scored his first time, and that walk started that mess in the second inning.
That was the real shame of it, because Watson retired Barbary, the 8th hitter. Then you have Weathers, who is 1 for 22. It struck out his last 8 consecutive times, and he walks and scores, and everything else was history.
Ground ball to third. That's a foul ball. Weathers is looking for his second hit of the year. He's 1 out of 22, and he'll try it again. It's been a long day already for him. We're only in the third. Had a lot of long rests between pitching. I don't think this game is over. I don't know if I'm overly optimistic.
As long as Rodriguez and the Cardinal bullpen can hold them right here, I have to believe we got a good shot of winning. Because the case you mentioned, that Weathers is walking quite a few, hasn't had good success. Long fight has an effect on him too.
2-2 now on Weathers with Everett on deck. Boy, did Everett hit a bomb his last time up. That's what started the home run derby. 2-2 to Weathers, and a little low, full count. Weathers must be an imposing figure at the plate. Walked and scored in the second. Was 0-2, now 3-2. Gotta be kidding me. A 1-out walk. See, that's their plan. They're letting Weathers get on base and let him wear down. First walk issued by Rodriguez. 1 on, 1 out for the top of the order. Comes Carl Everett. They cheer Carl, who hit his first big league home run. A 2-run bomb that he could have chopped up into about 2 or 3 more home runs his last time up. It was a blast. Now LA leads 3-0 at Cincinnati in the second inning. Cardinals are only 3.5 games out, and they've been able to make up ground recently while playing on the road. You know, after losing 2 out of 3 and doing so, Al, in frustrating fashion last Sunday, ball club could have packed it in. Then they lost the first game in Pittsburgh. They've been able to win 4 in a row since then, and that's really helped them out in the standings and with their confidence. They're a confident group right now. Little squirter to Jeffries, 2 out, and Weathers down to second.
You know, sometimes people I know would be pretty upset, but sometimes a fight is the best thing for a ball club for unity.
road trip recap. 5-3 so far. A chance to go to 6-3, but 4 straight. And they picked up a game in the standings since they left St. Louis. Here's Rich Renteria. Homered his last time up. Right down the middle, strike one.
Everett got his first major league home run last inning. It was only the 4th home run in Renteria's career.
Runner at second, 2 out. And quickly 0-2 now on Renteria. Two pitch. Spoiled it. Jack Buck will join you for the middle 3 innings, and I'll be anxious to hear his response as to what happened back in the second. Off speed and popped him up into left. Long run for Alicea. Foul ball, and it's out of play. Rodriguez, it would be safe to say, Al, is a different pitcher than when he was in spring training with the Marlins.
From what I understand, they tried to tell him to eliminate his hard slider and to throw a curveball. He was a pretty successful pitcher with the power stuff. He comes to the Cardinals, they say, Rich, we want that power stuff because we have so many soft tossers. You will look like you're throwing even harder because of a lot of the guys that'll be before you.
Into right, pretty well hit, but Jordan there on a line. He makes the catch, and that'll do it for the Marlins in the 3rd. We're only a third of the way through this one. So far, the Marlins lead the Cardinals 7-2.
Take a look at the National League Central. The Reds have been in first place since April the 5th. The Astros signed 2 big free agents a year ago. They didn't pitch well, but in '94 they're 10-2. Dre, Beck, and Swindell. Pirates, they're 3-7 in their last 10 games, and the Cubbies have won 5 straight at Wrigley Field. But we have our own problems here, Mr. Buck.
I don't have any problems. You have a problem?
I have a problem with the score.
Oh, the score. We played 3 innings already, and it's 7-2. Cardinals have stranded some runners. They've left a half a dozen, and this pitcher's gotten away with 4 walks in the first 3 innings. First up is Rodriguez. He'll bat for himself and take a strike. It must be fun to hit after they've warned both pitchers and both managers that you can't be thrown at. Why, anybody can go up there and swing the bat now, right? Like that. It carries out. The center fielder makes the catch. Everett, who got his first big league home run here today, makes a sliding catch of a line drive. The scouts on other teams like this young Florida outfielder.
And they say he could really play center field. Chuck Carr being injured, he's getting that opportunity. Slip and slide out there.
Cardinals hit a couple of line drives. Oquendo lined out to end the 3rd inning. Redbirds have been out hit 6-4. Well, what do you think of the stage that Alan Watson finds himself in right now, Al?
Well, it's not our decision, but I feel in his best interest he has to go back to AAA.
Especially with Urbani stepping forward. By the way, he's pitching tomorrow night at home, and Eversgerd getting the win. Perhaps the Cardinal, and we have to wait and see what happens with Cormier, who's going to be examined when we get home. Langford hasn't had any good at-bats, and he strikes out again. He tripled his first time up, but then struck out the next 2 times. And he's the only strikeout victim for this pitcher. He found a blind spot, didn't he?
Yeah, pitch down and in both times. Strikeouts have come on a similar pitch.
Alicea has had a single and a double, shows a bunt, takes a strike. We're underway in the fourth here and 2 quick outs. 7-2 Florida. And a ball. Watson started the game having allowed 49 hits in 43 innings. That's too many. And then in a third allowed 6 more hits.
Jackie's allowed 39 earned runs in 44 and a third innings.
Here's Alicea getting on base for the 3rd time. Alicea is 3 for 3. Well, it's nice to see him come out of it a little bit.
And really a good sign for him to have success here in his hometown, because you'd think he might press a little bit. Ball in on him a little bit, and he uses his hands to get his 3rd single.
That's the 5th Cardinal hit of the day.
Excuse me, 2 singles and a double and an RBI.
Let's see if Jeffries can cut into the lead. Whoa, right through the first baseman. Alicea goes to 3rd, 1st and 3rd, 2 out Brazil. Well, this is a chance for the Cardinals to either get back in the game or leave more runners on base, and they've already left 6. An error charge to the first baseman.
Jeff Conine has played first base. He comes in there, and after Destrade was knocked out, not a very difficult play. Ball was hit fairly sharply, but right there and underneath the glove, and he's down on one knee to guard against that.
He should have been down on both knees. Well, let's see if Zeal can make it a 2-run game. He drove in a run with a fly ball, and then with the bases loaded in the 2nd, he hit into a force out. 1st and 3rd, at least get one of the runs home and start pecking away at this deficit. Ball 1. Do you like this pitcher for Florida today?
I do and I don't. I mean, I think we're not seeing him at his best. I like his sinking fastball. I think we're going to see it here.
And a foul out of play, a ball and a strike.
That stayed up for him. He's got a pretty nasty slider. I'd say he's a pretty good competitor.
He's from the state of Tennessee.
Lives in 5 Points, Tennessee.
I've been to 3 Points and 4 Points, but I've never made it to 5 Points, Tennessee. 1st and 3rd, 2 out. In there to put Zeal in the hole, 1 and 2. He got the breaking pitch over, took a little bit off the pitch. He made some tough pitches to Zeal, hasn't he?
You can see where he has a pretty good advantage with the right-handers with that slider.
1st and 3rd, 2 out. Conine, who moved in from left field, returns the ball. A single and an error in this inning after 2 were out. 7-2 Marlins in the 4th. Shortstop will get that one. Force out, the inning's over. He got jammed. He got in on him, and the inning is over. You know how many people the Cardinals have left? The Cardinals have left 8 and trail 7-2. Florida bats in the 4th. They lead the Cardinals 7-2. Let's pause 15 seconds for identification on the Cardinals television network.
WRSP-TV, WCCU-TV, Springfield, Urbana.
Santiago has been on base twice with a single and a walk. He had 3 hits last night. And he faces Rodriguez, who spent the spring with the Marlins. And a foul. Everybody going up there hacking, man. There's no sense being back on your heels now.
Well, Jack, you bring up a good point. You know, I mean, a hitter now can really take full advantage, because not only if inadvertently, if a pitcher hits a batter, he's automatically ejected along with his manager, or in the opinion of the umpire that you were trying to hit someone, you're automatically ejected.
The umpires, when that rule first came out, didn't like the idea that they were dumping all of the responsibility on the umpire's shoulders. Here's Santiago taking ball 1. 3 Philadelphia home runs. Dykstra, Dalton, Incaviglia, and they lead New York 3-1 in the 5th inning of play. Montreal's ahead 3-2 after 4 at Pittsburgh. Whoops. That ball changed direction on Pena, and he got his man. The Dodgers are winning again 3-0 in the 2nd. Behind Estacio against Tim Pugh at Cincinnati. I like the Estacio. He's a very good pitcher. And the Cubs are winning again. They've won 5 in a row. Home run by Wilkins. They lead 1-0 in the after 2. San Diego at Houston, no score after 1. Atlanta will be at Colorado, and Atlanta's never lost to that Colorado team.
15-0.
Rodriguez in relief of Alan Watson. And this is Conine. He has walked and scored, homered with 2 men on, with 1 man on, a 2-run homer. And it was his 10th home run of the spring.
Conine went up there with a cracked bat.
Why do you do that?
Just wonder if he cracked it on the home run.
Maybe he cracked it when he looked at ball 1. I wish he'd check the bat before he goes up there instead of doing it on our time, right?
Exactly.
Conine is an outstanding racquetball player. He told me he could play professional racquetball. He said he wouldn't make a very good living, but he thought he'd compete at the top level. Pitch goes right by him. 2-1. He has competed against Marty Hogan, a young man from Ladue who's been a national racquetball champion. Conine drove home 2 runs in the 2nd. And the count goes to 2-2. Cardinals would like to get some innings out of Rich Rodriguez. We're right back to work tomorrow night against Philadelphia, a 3-game series at home. Maybe Rodriguez can take us into the late innings here. And maybe even the Cardinals can come back and close the gap. 7-2. Struck him out. That's 4 in a row retired by the lefty.
Rodriguez, it appears that if anybody throws pretty good speed and gets the ball up a little bit, that they can throw the ball by Conine.
Saw some pitches last night by Arocha, didn't we, in the 9th inning?
Yeah, Arocha threw a ball right by him that was upstairs in the strike zone.
This is Carrillo. Matias Carrillo de Mexico. He came into the game when Destrada was ejected. And the ball 1-1. C-A-R-R-I-L-L-O. Out of play, and it's 1-2. We're in the 4th inning. It's 7-2 Florida, and a lot of things have happened. We had a rumble on the field, and the Cardinals have left 8 runners on in the first 4 innings. Zeal has stranded 5 of them and driven in 1 of the 2 the Cardinals had. Rodriguez to Carrillo, and a foul. You ought to do this game in Spanish. You speak Spanish. You try to use the language, don't you?
I aprender mi español en la calle de Mexico.
Oh, really?
Yes. Cuando yo jugar con Algodoneros de Guasave. Guasave, Sinaloa, Mexico.
I'll be darned. Shows me quite a bit. You speak Spanish bluntly.
I learned in Mexico.
I knew what you were trying to say. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. And Carrillo takes it inside.
Heck, all you have to know is enough to eat.
That's right. Hamburger.
Hamburgueso.
Hamburgueso.
Yeah, how do you say hamburger?
Hamburger. They know what you're talking about. Cardinals thought they had this hitter struck out. 4 in a row retired by Rodriguez, and he got him. We played 4 innings, and Florida, having hit 3 home runs, leads it 7-2. Little altercation here. Rodriguez came off the field. Somebody said something or threw something at Rodriguez, the Cardinal pitcher. He threw his glove up into the stands at the guy. Now the ushers are there trying to eject the unruly fan, who, by the way, is a pretty big guy, and it looks like he's belligerent. And the umpires are there. They want to get somebody removed from the seats behind the Cardinal dugout.
With the umpires, with how forceful they are and the way all the Cardinal players came out, that fan had to have done something, and I think threw something at Rodriguez. Not on the field. Apparently, security is taking care of the matter.
Not yet.
Well, we see the militia coming down.
Yeah, here come the gendarmes. They're coming down the aisle. There's Rodriguez. I don't know what precisely transpired, but somebody is going to leave the premises as the police arrive on the scene. They always say, leave it to the police. And the umpires want to continue the game, even as this altercation takes place. And while we're waiting another pitch, I'd like to invite you to visit the Anheuser-Busch SeaWorld parks. Whether you've been there or not, no better time to go. New attractions at all times. Next time you're in Orlando or San Diego, San Antonio, or Cleveland, get to SeaWorld. Make contact with another world. It is ball 1 to Pena, taking the place of Gilkey in the Cardinal lineup. And a foul out of play. We are in the 5th inning, and it's 7-2 in favor of Florida. And the spectator decided that discretion is the better part of valor, so he strides out of the stadium. There's a long one by Pena, but it's going to hang up for the right fielder. And it is taken down for the out by Carrillo. That's the first out here in the 5th inning. And Brian Jordan, 0 for 1 with a walk, is the new hitter for the Cardinals. Seven to 2 the score. In the dugout, Langford to the left and Rodriguez to the right. Ozzie Smith has the day off at the moment. And a ball. Did you see Gilkey hit the umpire?
Yeah, I saw it on the replay.
Yeah, it was inadvertent.
Yeah.
But he did hit him, and that's why he was kicked out. And the Cardinals are playing the game under protest, but it won't do him any good because it doesn't have to do with the rules interpretation. A bouncer to short, Abbott with a big hop, gets Jordan for the second out, and the pitcher Weathers is rolling right along. This fellow won his first 5 games, lost his last 2. His figures are not that impressive, but evidently he pitches very well in tight spots. And he will work to Terry McGriff. He has a good earned run average, Al, I'm sure, but he's given up a lot of hits, a lot of walks. He must get a lot of double plays and get the outs that he needs.
I tell you, one of the real keys is he's not allowed more than 2 earned runs in 5 of his first 8 starts.
Did you think that Terry McGriff, was a little late in intercepting Destrada going out to the hill after Watson?
Not really.
I'm not saying timid. I'm not saying timid. I'm saying late.
No, I know what you're saying. Remember, Destrada kind of...
He strolled out there at first. He started off very slowly. I think another catcher might have intercepted him before he got to the mound. There's a walk to McGriff. That is the 5th walk given by this pitcher.
The other thing is Watson was about halfway down, and between home plate, he was waiting for him, and, he was saying, "Come on, I want you."
Yeah, and then he threw the glove at him, but the problem for Alan Watson, he just wasn't strong enough to take Destrada down to the ground. Destrada's a big guy. And meanwhile, Watson got popped a couple of times when Destrada got a headlock on him.
Now the Cardinals, because they may have a scoring opportunity come about here with 2 outs, they've got John Habian throwing in the Cardinals bullpen.
Kendo, the batter, he scored a run after getting a walk, and he was lined out. And the count is 0-2. There's Habian down in the bullpen. Cardinals have a 3-game series starting at home tomorrow night against the Phils. When's our next telecast?
Tuesday night from Busch Stadium against the Philadelphia Phillies. It'll be KPLR and the Cardinal Television Network, commencing at 8 or 7.
He struck out on a ball in the dark. That's the 3rd strikeout for Weathers. The Cardinals leave a runner, and they have left 9 runners in 5 innings and still trail 7-2. Oh, there's a balloon head. Must be Easter. We go into the 5th inning. Rodriguez has done good work. All 7 Florida runs charged to the starter, Alan Watson. At this point, the Cardinal pitcher has retired 5 in a row. And he has given the Cards a helpful outing here. In the bottom of the 5th we go. Brown, the leadoff hitter, in for a strike. Looked a little low, but strike 1. Cardinals were shooting for their 5th in a row here today, and still are. Zeal. Oh, can he throw him out? What a good play. He was fully extended out over the foul line when he took that base hit away from Jerry Brown. That's 6 in a row by Rodriguez.
Rodriguez is doing it with the help of Todd Zeal. As he fully stretched, and then he turns and throws. See the arm strength he has. There's no problem with his arm, but every now and then he'll kind of guide the ball over there. On a play like that, there's no time to think about it. You just react, and he does that very well.
Florida's left 4 runners, and the Cardinals have left 9. Ball 1 sinks low to Kurt Abbott. This shortstop used to be with Oakland. Florida lost Walt Weiss. He walked and went to Colorado. So they hope that this fella can do the job for him. I'd have to see him play on AstroTurf before I had a better opinion about his abilities. Here's a base hit to left. Alicea playing left field out there, in case you're wondering. That's Alicea when Gilkey was kicked out of the game. Alicea went out there as they keep Witten on the bench. That's the first base hit against Rodriguez. Manager of the Marlins, Rene Latchman, he's writing his checks. He shouldn't be doing that during the game, should he? He's
unless one's to us.
Paying the gas company and the electric bill. Cards need a double play. Can't get it now because there's a fly ball to Jordan off the bat of Barbary. That's the 2nd out of the inning, and it brings up the pitcher, who has walked twice. Well, I'll bet you they don't walk him again. I bet you if they do walk him again, Torrey will do something rash.
How about if I tell you he's 1 for 22.
I know that.
And he's struck out his last 8 times.
I know.
Coming into this game, we walk him twice.
There's Torrey. And that started the downfall, really. Watson gave up 2 runs in the 1st. Then he walked the pitcher with 1 out in the 2nd, and by the time the dust settled after the fight, 5 runs were home in that 2nd inning, and it's 7-2 here in the 5th. Down to second base goes the runner, Abbott, on a wild pitch.
Terry McGriff a little lazy on that one.
going to tell him you said that.
I'll tell him, and I'm sure he's man enough that he'll say that he was. He didn't stay down. He pulled up on it.
He was what?
That he was lazy.
There you said it again. Why are you picking on him? The pitcher threw the ball in the dirt.
It's a pass ball that they score a wild pitch more than likely.
There's 2 balls and a strike. You think they're going to walk him again?
I know, but we must have the wrong stats. He's checking his bat. He wants to know if it's loaded.
It's a lot of innings for Rodriguez. He relieved in the 2nd, pitching in the 5th. 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Weathers is the big fella. It's 6'3". He's 210. He ought to be able to hit the ball, but he's not a good hitter. 1 out of 22. Huh. 3-2. He knows how to look at him, doesn't he? Well, you might as well walk him now. The runner falls down. What's going on here? Abbott slipped and fell. He looked like he tripped over the foul line. A base hit by the pitcher. He's on base for the 3rd time. His 2nd hit of the year. And Abbott stumbled and fell. As soon as he got up, he blamed the field.
Full count, got to throw him a strike, and not a bad pitch at all. He fought it off, hits it into right field. Jordan makes a nice throw all the way to the plate.
Meanwhile, Abbott was sprawled on the deck, and it's 1st and 3rd with 2 out. And the batter is Everett, who's 1 for 3, a 2-run homer, his 1st home run in the big leagues. And ball 1, and he wasn't lazy that time, was he?
No, he wasn't. Of course, and that's expected now. He's got a runner at 3rd, so he knows he has to stay down. Runner was at 1st, he got a little careless.
It's 7-2 Florida. They've out hit the Cardinals 8-5. They have 1st and 3rd, 2 out. That's in for a strike.
He made the point. Joe Torre really he's asked an awful lot of Rodriguez. He has done the job for him, and if he can get this out, a big lift.
Change up. The ball's sinking away from the right-handed batter.
Joe has the pitcher spot due up 1st, so Rodriguez could feel very good about his performance with an out here.
All 7 runs charged to Alan Watson. 1st and 3rd, 2 gone. And a foul out of play. Nice Sunday afternoon crowd down here in Miami. No clouds. Lots of sunshine, 80 degrees when we started the game. They've had fun rooting for their Marlins. Marlins started the day 5 games behind Atlanta and 2 games over the 500 mark.
See, that pitch right there could almost get him ejected, but yet it wasn't nearly that close.
2-2. Hitter just keeps striding into the baseball. 2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and a foul.
Say, Everett can really run, but he had knee surgery over the winter, not showing the speed of a year ago.
He's from Tampa, Florida. And they got him. Nice pitching by Rich Rodriguez in relief. 2 left for the Marlins. They've left a half a dozen. We've played 5, and it's 7-2 in favor of the home club. We play at home next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights. And Tuesday, we play the Phillies. 2nd in a series of 6 autograph days sponsored by Jack in the Box. Before the 7:05 game, some current and former Cardinals will sign autographs for a limited period of time, courtesy of Jack in the Box. That's Tuesday. There's Joe Torre. He's a little weary. been a long road trip for the ball club. If they win, it'll be a 6-3 trip. Otherwise, if they lose, it'll be 5-4. There's Joe Coleman, the pitching coach. There's Alicea. There's Zeal. There's Tewksbury, the Major League's first 8-game winner, standing behind Coleman.
I bet you know what they were talking about?
What?
Watson.
And ball 1 to Royer, who's the pinch hitter for Rodriguez against Dave Weathers. Rodriguez pitched 3 2/3, no runs, 2 hits, struck out 3, walked 1. He did well. And Royer took the collar last night and fanned a couple of times.
Royer is 2 for 2 in his brief career against this right-hander who started the game.
He pounded that one past the hitter. Royer batting in the number 9 spot. Habian will be the new pitcher in the home half of this 6th. And the breaking ball. Another strikeout in the 4th for Weathers. There's Tewksbury, and this is what he did last night. He needed help finally from Arocha, but he pitched 8 innings and won the game. He's 8-1.
6 strikeouts. He really threw the ball well.
He's a pretty good candidate for the All-Star game that's going to be played in Pittsburgh, right? July 12th. Well, here is Langford. Let's see if he can see the ball a little better from Weathers. He tripled into the left field corner and scored in the 1st. Fanned in the 2nd, fanned in the 4th. Cardinals have left 9. He hits the ball foul, 1-1. 4 times this year, Langford has started the game with a home run. Today, he started with a triple. And he's hitting .350. Two balls and a strike, and he does appear to be seeing the ball better.
This time it appears that he has his weight back, and that last pitch gave you that indication.
Up and in, and it's 3-1. The Phillies, after 5 at home, lead New York 7-1. Montreal's ahead 3-2 after 6 at Pittsburgh. Ball 4 puts Langford on base. You know, that's the 6th walk by this pitcher, but the Cardinals haven't been able to make him pay. The Dodgers are winning again, 3-0 after 3 at Cincinnati. Frisco leads 2-1 in the 4th at Chicago. And Houston at home ahead 2-1 in the 3rd against San Diego. Caminetti hit another home run. That's his 7th.
Rehberger, the pitching coach for the Marlins, is out to talk to Weathers. Not often you can walk 6 in a ball game and get away with it. They're taking the tarp off the bullpen mound for Florida, so you have to believe someone will begin throwing.
Atlanta at Colorado, no score in the 2nd inning. Maddox pitching in that game.
Richie Lewis.
And the news. Richie Lewis and the news. Well, that's the other guy.
Huey.
That's Huey Lewis. And here is Lewis Alicea. He's had 3 hits today, and he tried to bunt for another hit. Good idea with Jeffries coming up next. Cardinals trail 7-2, 6th inning. Weathers, there's another hit. Alicea is 4 for 4, and the run is going to be able to score. And the right fielder bobbles the ball, and Alicea goes for 3rd. He is there with 1 out. And the Cardinals cash in on the walk. This time it's 7-3. You never know, folks. You never know. You get this run home, that'd be a big one.
Heck, you just have to believe that with all those walks, 6 allowed by Weathers, they've kept the Cardinals' hopes alive. They haven't got any big hitting, except for Louis. Right inside the first base bag, right over the bag. So Louis picks up his 4th hit He's only a home run away from hitting for the cycle. And he has 2 RBIs in the day.
And ball 1 to Jeffries. He could change the scoreboard. They walked him earlier intentionally and with good results. He is 0 for 2. Trying to just slap it into left field. He doesn't use that swing very often, does he?
No, he does not. He's got a bone bruise on his hand. It's given him a little bit of trouble. They walked him 3 times on Friday night. Cardinal victory.
Runner at third, 1 out, infield back. And the hit brings another run home. Jeffries makes the turn and hangs on. That makes it 7-4. More interesting, isn't it? And Zeal could do some good here. Has a sacrifice fly, and he's 0 for 2.
High ball hitter. Gets that ball up there. He tomahawks it.
And it's a base hit. Jeffries made the turn at first. And he caused Carrillo to rush the ball, but he picked it cleanly. And here comes the manager, and he wants a new pitcher. Did he warm up for a long enough period of time out there?
I'm sure Latchman got the affirmative from Richie Lewis, but it didn't seem like it was very long.
So 5 1/3 innings for the starter. He can be the winner, cannot be the loser, but the Cardinals could pull it out of the fire here. Trailing now 7-4. Cardinals are not without a chance in this one now. A walk, a 3-base hit by Alicea, RBI single by Jeffries. And first up will be Zeal.
Talking about Jeffries, he's a high ball hitter from both sides of the plate. Here he gets on top of a pitch. And if we show you the pitch tracker, look for that strike zone there. That's set up for the frame of a 6'1" person. So that pitch actually was about 3 inches out of the strike zone on the inner half, and Jeffries can get on top of that ball and nail it. The ball was about an 88-mile-an-hour fastball, and it was the last pitch thrown by the starter.
Very interesting, as the right-hander Dave Weathers is out of the game and Lewis comes in. He has a record of 1-1.
Big strikeout pitcher here, Jack, and opponents are only hitting 137 against him.
He is from Muncie, Indiana. Here is Zeal. Well, Florida's hit 3 home runs. Time for the Cardinals to get into that department. The Cards have a couple of triples today, but have hit none off the playing field. No home runs. They've been out hit 8-7, trail 7-4. Richie Lewis to Zeal, ball 1. Lewis is 5'10", 175. He was with Florida last year. 6-3 performer, no saves. Jeffries a threat to run if they ignore him over there. Inside, but on the corner to Zeal. They've been pounding Zeal inside all day and on the corner. They've made some good pitches to him, Al.
Todd has had trouble against right-handed pitching, and Lewis has a very, very good breaking ball. He's got good enough stuff on his fastball where Todd just has a tendency, he's pulling off on those good sliders, but if they throw one in the strike zone, they try and come in on him a lot.
As they did there, too.
He can fight that pitch off, and he's hit a couple of them sharply. They have gotten in there.
Zeal drove in a run with a sacrifice fly in the first. Then with the bases loaded in the second inning, he bounced into a force out. Then he left 2 men on in the fourth inning when he grounded out. And he's batting here in the 6th, and he's in the hole. 1-2. See if they go low and away. Ooh, he looked like he got away with a hanging breaking ball that time.
Hanging breaking ball is exactly what he saw. Take a look at it. Look at a hanging breaking ball, and I was a little bit surprised because it looked like Santiago had set up inside for, you don't normally want to throw a breaking ball in.
Here the ball in the dirt. Bounced up and to do hit Zeal, and it kept the runner from going. Good job by Santiago. He's been bouncing around back there.
Much better this year than the last 2 or 3 years when Santiago's back behind the plate. See him move with his body.
Yeah, he blocked it with his body.
And then you have that chest protector, so you can take that ball that bounces in the dirt off your chest, and you surround it, keep it in front of you.
2-2. Cards need something from Zeal. 1 on, 1 out. He couldn't stop that one. That's a wild pitch.
That's truly a wild pitch, and truly a very good effort by the catcher. And watch it out there. He moves out there, and it comes up a little bit higher. It was so far off. Jeffrey's able to advance.
Let's see if Zeal can get on. Drive in a run, get on, bring up the tying run here in the 6th inning. Cardinals trailing 7-4. Full count on Zeal. Will he get a fastball to swing at?
I think it'll be a breaking ball.
He struck him out on a 3-2 breaking ball. Zeal has left some runners today. That's the 6th man he has left on base. Actually, his 7th man he has left on base.
Jack, the Los Angeles Dodgers picked up another run. Got a home run from one of their big bats.
Who?
Brett Butler.
Oh, yeah?
4-0.
He's hit a couple this year. Well, let's see if Pena can pick him up here. He is 0 for 2. There's a strike. Pena replaced Gilkey when Gilkey was ejected after being involved in the fight and accidentally punching the umpire. One ball, one strike. Pena could help right here, driving home this run. The Cardinals have left 9.
That's where Pena really has to wait back. Got a breaking ball pitcher out there.
Need a 2-out hit. It's up high. The on-deck hitter is Jordan. And if Pena gets on, it brings up the tying run. The Cardinals aren't out of this one. The finale of the road trip. And they've won 5, lost 3 on the trip thus far. Pena has hit 3 home runs. He chased a bad ball low. He won't stop doing it, will he?
Has a tendency to be out over his front foot. Very difficult. The only ball you can hit is a fastball.
And you wonder why they ever throw him a fastball when they see him do things as he just did. 2-2. 3-2.
He was ahead in the count. The pitcher threw him a fastball. Tried to get him to go after that pitch out of the strike zone.
He's holding the ball across the seams.
I think it would be an off-speed pitch.
Fastball, and he corked it to right. How far is that one going to go? It makes it a 1-run game. Why in the world do they ever throw him a fastball? It's 7-6.
That's why I couldn't believe that they gave him the only pitch he could hurt you with. And I'm glad they did. But that's what excites you about Pena, is because he has the power. But yet, if anyone really pitches to him and are ahead of the count to him, you had first base open. You don't have to give in to him. They did, and he'll burn you.
They didn't want to bring the tying run up to the plate. That Cardinal dugout is excited after watching this one sail over the 385 mark. He hit it about 400 feet. Now it's Jordan. There's ball 1. Let's see from the pitch tracker where that pitch was.
See that it's in the middle of the plate. 86, 87 miles an hour. And he got his arms extended.
Jordan now takes a breaking ball outside. It's a 1-run game. The Cardinals have scored 4 times here in the 6th inning. Pena's 4th home run of the year. Will this be something if the ball club came back and won this one?
It's going to.
Rodriguez did a good job in relief. Here It's 3-0. Wouldn't Joe Buck say earlier here that he thought the Cardinals are going to win?
He said, wrap it up. It's in the books.
He knows more than I do. Still haven't caught him. It's 7-6 here, and the bullpen is busy. Brian Jordan is the hitter. This pitcher has struck out Zeal and allowed the home run to Pena. 3-0 the count. All 4 goes low. That's the 7th walk given to the Cardinals today.
Friday night, Marlin pitching staff allowed 10 walks to the Cardinals.
Here comes the pitching coach out again. For the manager, Rene Lutchman. That's Frank Rehberger. That's Mutis in the bullpen. He gave up the 9th inning home run last night to Gilkey.
Jack, after watching Mutis pitch, Perez pitch out the left-handers, their bullpen, it's hard to believe they gave up Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah, he had a very bad spring, and they just turned him loose. And Rodriguez could have gone with any number of ball clubs, and he wanted to come to the Cardinals. He liked the way that Al Maxwell and Joe Torre talked to him about what would happen when he came here. Let's see if McGriff can do some more damage here in the 6th inning. It was 1-0 Cardinals. They trailed 2-1. They tied it 2-2, fell behind 7-2. Now it's 7-6. With the runner Jordan on base.
The home run has taken a little bit of the aggressiveness away from Richie Lewis.
He threw a fastball to Pena, and Pena lost it. Pena not playing much lately. Feel good about that bolt. McGriff the batter, and a foul out of play. 1-1 strike.
Pena broke an over last Sunday with a home run. Maybe he hits home runs only on Sundays.
The Cardinals are going to need a new pitcher in the bottom half of the inning. They started this inning pinch hitting Royer. There are 2 out. Cardinals started the day 3.5 behind the Reds. The Reds are losing in their ball game at home against the Dodgers. 4-0. McGriff took a strike. He's in the hole 1-2.
This is when Richie Lewis pretty much can throw you nothing but the curveball.
See if Jordan does any running down there at first base. There are 2 out. Curveball grounded to short. Abbott has it. And out ends the Cardinals' 6th. It's been a 4-run inning for the Cardinals. Florida comes to bat, and now they lead by only 1, 7-6. There's the score, 7-6. There's the Cardinal third base coach, Bucky Dent. If you want to learn how to play the game of baseball properly, there are 2 Bucky Dent baseball school sessions coming up. June 20th is the first one, not too far away, and then June 27th is the next. Brian Jordan will be the instructor in the first, Pagnazzi in the second. Write that phone number down. We'll show it to you one more time. 407-265-0280. First pitch is a strike with Habian pitching. And Renteria the batter. This fella hit a home run, his 2nd of the year. He's 1 for 3. Rick Renteria playing third base. And a ball from Habian. Habian pumps one in there.
Fabian's had a little bit of rough spot the last few times out, so this is a good opportunity for him to pitch get himself straightened out.
He made a bad hanger inside there, and Renteria singles. So the Marlins come right back. That was not a very good pitch, but
hasn't been locating his pitches like he would like. You see the hanging breaking ball.
he hung it inside, and Renteria fell back. That was like a gift to him. Cardinals have no double plays today. Maybe they'll get one from Santiago. 7-6, Florida leading. They about hit the Cardinals 9-8. And the leadoff man is on. Miss low. It's the first time today Florida's put the leadoff man on base. They've left a half dozen. Cardinals have stranded 10. Cards trail by a run. Fabian and Rodriguez are two guys the Cardinals have in their bullpen who can pitch frequently.
And Arocha apparently can do the same.
Renteria takes his lead. (7-6) Marlins here in the 6th. Benito has hit 7 in his last 9 games. Had 3 hits last night, a hit today, plus a walk. Scored 2 runs. Maybe they'll get 1. Nope, don't get in. That wasn't very good either by Oquendo.
Playing him up the middle a little bit. Goes into the hole and just didn't stay down on it. Got underneath the glove.
That could go either way. They would have had a put out had he picked it cleanly. They would have had a force out.
They've scored it
the
to
first
base.
2 on.
Well, they haven't scored it. Yeah, now they've scored it to base hit.
Yeah. So the first 2 are on, and the Cardinals have just caught him. Well, they need a triple play. The batter is Conine, their best hitter. And a strike. Fabian came on and gave up a couple of hits in his last appearance. This one was a scratch hit, but the first one was Fabian's fault. This fellow, the big RBI man, he has 33 now. He took strike 2. Fabian could use the strikeout, or the pop-up, or the double play, or the triple play. It's 7-6 Florida. Rocha blew the ball past this hitter for the final out last night. Two on, nobody out. This is the big man with Cabrillo, the next hitter. Yes, sir. Heck of a pitch by Fabian. Let's give him some credit for that one.
Most definitely. Conine was guessing and guessing wrong the first 2 times. This time he's just fooled on it. Oh, a tight, hard slider in a good location. Look at the location of this pitch. It's a slider about 82 miles an hour, right on the outside portion of the plate.
Wonderful pitch by Fabian, and now he has Cabrillo up there. He replaced Estrada in the lineup. There's a strike to him. And after the fight, Estrada was kicked out. Remember, they did have a fight here in this game. Seems like a long time ago now. Seems like yesterday. 2 on, 1 out. That was a big put out. Now a double play would bail him out. Matias Carrillo.
Cardinals get out of this inning with no runs scored. They win.
Really?
May even take the lead.
Wow.
Next inning.
The fearless forecast of Al Hrabosky.
Just momentum turns, changes.
It would be significant. 7-6. Florida leads here in the 6th inning. 2 on and 1 out. There's Cookie Rojas. He's coaching at third.
We haven't seen Jeremy Hernandez, the closer, now that Harvey is hurt in this series, and it's too early to bring him in.
Cardinals caught the Marlins without Destrada. He did play, but then was kicked out of the game today. Without Sheffield, without Chuck Carr, their center fielder, without Brian Harvey, their closer. The Redbirds have won the first two and have a chance for the sweep.
And you know, that is something that no team has swept the Marlins this year yet.
2 on, 1 out. One run is home on a double. And it's 8-6. You know, we got good pitching today from Rodriguez. We might see a lot more of this as a result of the heavy workload that bullpen has had. 3 hits in the inning against Javier.
Pitch down and right over the middle of the plate, and a sweeping swing plugs the gap in left center.
Now they're going to walk Brown and pitch to Abbott. This will be the 5th walk given to Florida to go with 11 hits. Avian has had a nasty inning, and there's nothing doing in the bullpen. And Abbott will be up 1 for 3, bases loaded, 1 out. Ball 4. Let's pause for identification on the Cardinal Television Network.
WRSP TV, WCCU TV, Springfield, Urbana.
Well, there's the score with a little Florida background. Breezy day, temperature in the 80s, bases loaded. 1 out here in the 6th. Still early in the game, really. 8-6. Florida regains a 2-run advantage. 7 runs off Watson. None against Rodriguez, and 1 here against Javier, and a good job by Langford on the last base hit. There are the runners with Santiago, Cabrillo, and at first base, Brown. Cards hope for the double play. Base is loaded, 1 out. And they hold them up, and the bases are still loaded. Another run is home. It's 9-6.
My prediction was based on Javier not giving up any more base hits or runs. That pitch is up over the middle of the plate, and this hits it hard.
You know, you could kind of expect this free swinging sort of game after the fight and after the warnings. No more pitching inside. Now the left-handed batter, the number 8 hitter, is Brett Barbary. He's a pretty good number 8 hitter. He's 0 for 3 today. Bases loaded, still 1 out, and Marlins have a 3-run lead.
Like the point you were making earlier about the bullpen. This is the 9th game of this road trip. It is the 31st appearance by a reliever. This is the 5th time Javian's had to pitch on the trip.
The ball sails outside. He tried to get him with a sinker. 2 balls and a strike. He's been whacked for 4 base hits in the inning.
And in the month of May, we've used 68 different relief appearances.
Now the big play in this inning, Oquendo.
Yeah.
You got to play defense. You can't give them any extra outs. That was the good sinker that time. 2-2. The sinker of the ball that goes from the right-handed pitcher down and away from the left-handed hitter. 2-2 to Barbary. Cards need the double play yet. Or the strikeout. That's the 2nd out of the inning. Took something off that pitch. And we're going to have what?
The pitcher, Richie Lewis, is going to hit here. That's why the booing.
They want to manage, right? Lewis in relief of Weathers. He's going to bat for himself with the bases loaded. The fans want to go for the juggler. Bases loaded, 2 out. They'll cheer if he gets a hit, won't they? There's a strike. If he makes it out, they'll boo some more. Lewis first at bat this year. Bases loaded, 2 out. Breaking ball, strike 2. I'm going to boo myself. If he strikes out, I'm going to boo. Are you going to boo?
I'll tell you what, it sends a message to Latchman's bullpen. I have very little confidence in anyone down there except for the closer, Jeremy Hernandez.
Bases loaded, 2 out. And a good stop by McGriff. 2 runs home in this inning. And Avian really changed the scoreboard, didn't he? 4 base hits, intentional walk. The play by Oquendo was a big one in this inning. And a chance for the force out. Boo. After 6, it's 9-6 Florida. Boo. How could he let the pitcher bat? Boo.
What an exhilarama we have here today. Exhilarama night, however, will be this Wednesday, May 25th. The Cardinals and the Phillies. 7:05 start. All fans with a paid admission, 18 and under, receive a free pass worth up to $21 for Exhilarama. Family Fun Center at Crestwood Plaza. We have a family fun center. Maybe not family fun here at the ballpark. We've had brawls. We've had just about everything. Cardinals are down 3 now as we go to the 7th inning, and Richie Lewis back to work. Oquendo leads it off. The number 8 hitter he'll be taking, and he looks at strike 1. It'll be Oquendo. Then we see Gerald Perry in the on-deck circle.
Joe, we're seeing right here, allowing Lewis to bat with a 3-run lead is the reason why the fans get cheated out of all second guessing and so much strategy in the DH, the American League.
Good point.
I mean, it just seemed like from a fan standpoint, why it takes them out of the game in some of the decision making.
1-2 to Oquendo, who has not looked sharp in this series.
Latchman has very little confidence of anybody down in the bullpen. That's why he let Richie Lewis hit, a guy that got the game back, got it close again with a 2-run home run by Pena.
Oquendo stays alive. Jose in this series, nothing out of 6. I didn't get a good look at that play that he kicked it short the bottom half of the last inning. Could he have made a play?
Well, I think he guesses sometimes that where someone will hit it, and he was playing way up the middle. It looked like he might have known that it was going to be a tough play, tried to come up a little bit. The ball stayed right underneath the glove.
That's easy for the left fielder Brown. 1 out. And Oquendo hitless in this series. And we go to the bench and find Gerald Perry to pinch hit. Joe Torre wants to get a rally going here in the 7th inning, and he calls on his best pinch hitter, Gerald Perry. Mark Whitten is also on the bench and available, we understand, but suffering from a strained shoulder.
He did take batting practice today with no ill effects. Chris Chambliss said he swung the bat well, said there was no pain, but Joe really wanted to give him another day off before starting him.
2-0 on Perry with Langford coming up. There's Mark Whitten. We might see him before the end of the day. 2-0 to Perry. He's taking properly. The count 2-1. Ball club down by 3. 1 out, nobody on. Perry was taking a strike. Now he'll hack away. Into left field, pretty well hit, but right at Brown. A high delivery. Perry lines to left, 2 out. He looked like he chased ball 3.
Gerald's enough experience to where he knows what he can do. He likes to hit the high pitch also. And he hit that ball sharply. It just was right at the left fielder.
So we move to Langford. Gray digs in 1 out of 3 plus a walk. He scored twice. Big inning for the Marlins when after giving up 4 they came right back with 2 against John Habian, who was ineffective. Langford a 1-1 count. Rob Murphy will be the next Cardinal pitcher. Borderline pitch called strike 2.
Lewis will throw a lot of changeups to left-handed batters. Very good curveball that he would use a little more frequently with a right-hander hitting.
1-2 pitch. Numbers for Habian: 1 inning, 2 runs on 3 hits. Big runs allowed by the Cardinal right-hander. 2 strikeouts and a walk. Make that 4 hits. Just missed outside. 2-2. Langford looking for his 2nd hit of the day. 3-2. On deck is Alicea. You know what he's lacking to hit for the cycle? A home run. Langford trying to get on for him. 3-2 pitch. Langford has struck out 3 times today. Richie Lewis pitches a perfect 7th inning. That's why he stayed in there to hit. Cardinals down by 3. Bottom of the 7th inning. Cardinals down by 3, 9-6. And they have their 4th pitcher of the day out there. Rob Murphy takes over for Habian.
He's appearing in his 21st game of the year. He has won 1, lost 2, ERA 4.11. 15+ innings. He's walked 6.
Well, it looks like at worst the Cardinals will head home having picked up a game on this road trip. Reds are getting bombed at home by the Dodgers 10-0.
Rather pick up another game right here and go home with a 6-3 road trip. 6-3 is a lot better than 5-4.
Top of the order to be faced by Rob Murphy: Everett, Renteria, Santiago.
This is Murphy's 6th appearance on the 9-day road trip.
(2-0) on Everett. Well, the Cardinals wrapped up that 3-game series in Montreal by blowing a 3-run lead in the 9th inning. Maybe they can turn the tables and end up sweeping the Marlins and spoiling a nice crowd here at Robbie Stadium. Crowd here today of 35,386. Enjoying the sunshine. A beautiful day. They have seen some action, including a 2nd inning brawl. 2-1 pitch. 3 players were ejected in that brawl. Alan Watson, Orestes Destrade, and Bernard Gilkey. 2-2 the count on Everett leading off. Murphy started this road trip without his own pair of shoes. He had to borrow someone on the team who had the same size foot, but he's back with his comfortable shoes. Everett pops up. Jeffries will fight the sun. Glasses down, guarding the sun with the glove. He had all kinds of UV protection and makes the catch. One away.
The shoes have made a difference.
You know how particular pitchers are, especially left-handed pitchers.
Well, in the case, if you remember last Sunday when he was pitching without them, had to have a tape job on the ball of his foot. That's where a pitcher will rub it raw if you don't have a pitching toe on your shoe. He got a pair of shoes from Pena.
Here's a strike into Renteria.
Now you see the pitching toe there. You see how it's all scraped up. That's because you put it down in that hole and then you drag it, push off on it. I used to have a hole in my foot for 6 months.
A hole actually in your foot?
In my foot. And every time I'd pitch, I'd break it open again. It padded up before a game, but it was also a good sign that I was throwing properly.
So for all you young kids out there, a hole in your foot is a good sign if you're going to be a pitcher. Is that why you didn't wear socks today, to show me?
So I could show you the scar.
2-1 on Renteria. Everett popped out. That's a shot to center, but right at Langford. Can't make the play. Those are the toughest. Hit right at you, and Langford misplayed it. See how they rule that. That could go either way. It was well hit, but it should have been caught.
Well, Ray will tell you it should have been caught. It sinks on him, goes off the glove. He tried to backhand it, and it looked like it went off the little finger of the glove. But having a tough day at the plate might contribute to a tough day in the field. You know, he pushes off there and drags it. Some guys do it more on the toes, others do it more at the ball of the foot.
They have ruled that a hit for Renteria.
That was a very good camera work and directing was spectacular, showing and demonstrating a pitcher's foot drag.
1-0 the count on Santiago. Cardinals in the 8th inning will have Alicea, Jeffries, Zeal. If anybody gets on, Pena.
Santiago looks like he's been reborn. Bouncing around well behind the plate, throwing out runners, and his average is at 288.
1-1 pitch. It tends to happen in a contract year.
Looks as energized as he was in his rookie year.
Still going.
And going.
1 on, 1 out, 2-1 the count on Santiago. Conine next. And Renteria just back before that tag. Two-one pitch. Benny Santiago swinging for the downs in the count 2-2.
Santiago picked up his 100th career home run last night.
Did that to right off Bob Tewksbury in the 8th. In case you missed it last night, Bob Tewksbury became the Major League's first 8-game winner. The 7-5 win over the Marlins. 3-2 the count on Santiago, and we'll keep an eye on Renteria at first. He may take off, and we could have the strike him out, throw him out if Murphy can get it by Santiago. Then again, they could not start the runner because Conine is on deck. he goes. Strike him out and throw him out. And the double play.
He hurt himself.
Renteria hurt.
It's his shoulder, maybe.
Dr. Oquendo taking a look at him, and he is down in a heap. The double play, the first double play turn today. Hard to believe with all the action we've had, but Renteria is down and he is out. Take a look.
Watch him go. Oh, he pull a hamstring. So you pull up on the hamstring. He's rolling there with his shoulder behind him. I thought it was that, but it's just a hamstring. Watch him grab right back behind the thigh. Runs right through the bag.
That'll do it for the inning and for Renteria. After 7, 9-6 Marlins. Fitting here at Robbie Stadium, 9-6 Marlins. Heart of the order coming up, and they had to carry Rich Renteria off, and that, you don't like to speculate, but that appeared to be a very serious hamstring problem. Mike Shannon over on the radio side. He's got his CBC golf tournament coming up June 6th at Norwood Hills. For more information, 314-721-1200.
$1 million hole-in-one.
Alicea leads off. Alicea lacks a home run in his quest to hit for the cycle. 2 singles, a double, and a triple. He leads off here in the 8th inning with the Cardinals down 3. 2-0. There's help in the bullpen for the Marlins if Richie Lewis needs it. And Alicea, like a good boy should, took on 2-0. Jeffries and Zeal to follow if anybody gets on in the inning. Pena. 2-2. Louis 4 out of 4 and his average way up. There's Alex Arias. He's taken over at third base in place of the injured Renteria. 2-2 pitch to Alicea. Breaking ball. See it. Richie Lewis. Pretty gutsy move by his manager Rene Latchman to leave him in with 2 out and the bases loaded to hit in the 6th inning. But he is making that move pay off.
See the pitch? The outside part of the plate. Broke down 10 inches on the slow breaking ball, and it was thrown at about 76 miles an hour.
Third strikeout for Lewis. Here's Jeffries with 1 out here in the 8th. Little different game. Had Habian been able to shut down the Marlins in the 6th inning, but after the Cardinals got 4 in the top half, Florida came right back and scored 2. That's foul. Strike 2. Greg now hitting .340. That's where he started the day. 1 out of 3. He's also reached on an error. One ball, 2 strikes with Zeal next. 9-6 Marlins, top of the 8th inning.
Curveball.
Foul tip. Jeffries strikes out. And then shows us a good left-handed golf swing. That's the 4th strikeout for Lewis.
Another breaking ball. Up there, and he's out in front, pulls off. He did foul it, but
Here's
into the
Johnny.
glove. Into the glove. Let's see.
Here's Zeal. 2 out, nobody on. And nothing cooking for the Cardinals in the 8th inning, even though the heart of the order has stepped to the plate. Zeal has had a frustrating day. Did drive in a run with a sac fly in the first. Big breaking ball drops low. 2-0.
Richie Lewis much more effective when he's ahead because he can't look fastball and adjust to his breaking ball, and his fastball's just sneaky enough that he can throw it by you too.
4 straight. He walked him. 2-out walk after Alicea and Jeffries struck out. Zeal aboard, and Geronimo Pena, who hit a 2-run homer his last time up, walks to the plate.
Cardinals have been granted 8 walks in this game.
1 on, 2 out. For Geronimo Pena, here comes Rene Latchman. Is he going to make a switch here? He is. He's going to go to Jeremy Hernandez, his closer. He believes that Richie Lewis has had enough. There's Jeremy Hernandez. He comes in. Richie Lewis exits stage right. We're in the 8th inning, and the Cardinals trail by 3.
You see the closer now that Brian Harvey is on the disabled list, and Hernandez has really stepped up and stepped forward.
He delivers ball 1 to Pena. Jeremy Hernandez, a lot of people might not remember, and we've talked about it before, used to be part of the Cardinal organization. Was traded to San Diego and now is with Florida. 2-0.
When you look at Hernandez, he's in his career against the Cardinals, he is no record but a .750 ERA in 3 games. He has allowed just 1 hit in his last 8 2/3 innings. That covers a span of 10 appearances.
Former teammate of Rich Rodriguez, Al, he was a 2nd-round pick of the Cardinals back in '87.
He's tied for 2nd in the National League with 9 saves, and he's allowed just 1 earned run in his last 12 outings.
2-1 pitch. Pena pops it up into right center. The center fielder fighting the sun. He's there. He has it. And the Cardinals strand their 11th man of the day. Bottom of the 8th inning rolls around. 9-6 Florida. Time now for another great moment in Cardinal history, brought to you by Budweiser. And we talk about one of the all-time greats, not only in Cardinal history but in baseball history, Rogers Hornsby.
Well, he was an outstanding talent. I believe the last Cardinal to hit 400 or better. Went on to be a player manager.
And one of the all-time greats. 1915 through 1926. And then a second 1-year stint with the Cardinals. One of the greats of the game. And he belonged, for the most part in his career, to the St. Louis Cardinals. Great moments in Cardinal history, brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that fresh, distinctive taste. Crisp, clean, classic Bud. Cardinal fans hoping for a 9th inning rally. Right now, they have to hope that Rob Murphy can shut down the Marlins here in the 8th and keep it a 3-run game. It's 9-6 Marlins. Conine leads it off. Well, ever since Gary Sheffield has joined this Marlins club, you see a lot of these Marlins hitters with that Sheffield stance where they're at the top with the bat pointing the bat back toward the pitcher. We saw that with Carr. We see that with Conine as he flies to Jordan. 1 out.
The difference is neither one of them have the bat speed that Gary Sheffield, and that's also, to me, probably is part of the reason why he pitches up. Can be thrown right by Jeff Conine.
To recap this game, and we will go through it in more detail next inning, but Watson started, lasted an inning and a third, was ejected after a brawl. Cardinals have been able to score 6 runs on 8 hits. They've left 11. With one exception, Habian in the 6th inning. The pitching out of the bullpen has been terrific. Carrillo, a big hit. Big hit in that 2-run 6th inning with 2 on and 1 out. An RBI double. 1-1 as Murphy comes inside on Carrillo.
Throwing this pitch up and in, and see it tails into the batter a little bit. That's where it's not fair to any subsequent pitchers on both sides after.
Off the end of the bat to Jordan and right. 2 out.
After both teams have been warned, because anytime a pitcher hits a batter, whether it's with a changeup or anything, it's an automatic ejection for the pitcher and his manager, or in the opinion of an umpire that he was deliberately throwing at a batter, he's already automatically ejected.
So retribution, unless you're struggling and about to head out of the game, really doesn't happen anymore. Jerry Brown digs in, strike 1. I was going through the Cardinal lineup saying, okay, who are the Marlins going to hit? But Weathers couldn't hit anybody or he would have been kicked out of the game.
No, but what you see is the retaliation is not in this game. It comes in a later game when you're not expecting it.
1-1 the count.
Just a little message, and then you can't put a victory ahead of a personal vendetta.
Strike 2 on Jerry Brown. Good relief pitching today by Rodriguez and Murphy. Habian slipped up in an inning. Allowed 2 runs on 4 hits. Cardinals led only 1 time in this game. That was after a half inning, 1-0. Now it's 9-6 Marlins. 2 out, nobody on. 2-2 on Jerry Brown. In the 9th inning for the Cardinals, it'll be Jordan, McGriff, Oquendo due to bat, and the pitcher spot against Jeremy Hernandez, who's been a more than capable fill-in for Brian Harvey. He'll get his chance to run right back out there as Brown fouls out to first. Jeremy Hernandez. Can he shut down the Cardinals in the 9th? We're about to find out. Going there, the Marlins lead St. Louis 9-6. Time for the 9th inning, and the Marlins out in front by 3. 9-6. Joe Torre hoping for a 9th inning rally. I think even if the Cardinals don't come back and win this game, they certainly have showed a lot of spunk, a lot of life, and a lot of pride in this game, and that has to make Joe Torre very proud.
It does, and I will still say the best thing that Watson did was his last pitch. Had to do that for himself. He had to show that he had pride. He had to show his teammates too that he respects himself.
Brian Jordan will lead off. The Cardinals need 3 to tie.
So the kind of interesting thing about Jeremy Hernandez, who's facing Brian Jordan here, is he was kind of pretty much labeled that he couldn't get the job done late in the ball game. San Diego and Cleveland kind of gave up on him, and he credits his wife. Instead of going to a pitching coach or another player and say, hey, what's the problem? He and his wife kind of sat down together and talked it over, and she kind of pumped him up a little bit. He had the ability, and he's done it this season for the Marlins in the absence of Brian Harvey, who should be coming back with Sheffield on Wednesday.
He has 9 saves, but he's 3-0 on Brian Jordan. Brian will take 1 pitch for a strike if he can throw it. He cannot, and a leadoff walk on 4 straight. And a good start to the 9th inning for the Cardinals, and not a good start for Hernandez. To bring in Terry McGriff. Terry can be had on the double play ball. He is looking for his first hit of the day. 0 for 3 with a walk.
Jeremy Hernandez came from Cleveland in a trade during spring training for Matt Turner. You and I both like Turner. played was on Easter Sunday.
Ball and a strike on McGriff. And Cardinal hitters have yet to take the bat off their back shoulder.
He's never fared well against the Cardinals. Hernandez hasn't.
Line drive for a double play. My goodness.
Nothing a coach can do there. First thing when the batter reaches first base, Jose Cardinal says, remember, don't get doubled up on a line drive.
Went after a bad pitch, low and away. From a bad pitch to terrible base running. And it's 2 out, nobody on. It's a good way to erase a walk. And Hernandez 1 out away from his 10th save of the season.
Kendo will more than likely make him throw a strike. So you can see the sinking action. And boy, it sure would have been nice to have 2 guys on and bring up Whitten.
He's in the on-deck circle, but McGriff went after a low pitch.
Well, he hit it hard. I mean, you can't fault the guy when he hits the ball hard, but there's no excuse for getting doubled up on the line drive.
2-1 on Oquendo. Cardinals down to their last 2 strikes. 9-6 Marlins here in the 9th.
Last Sunday they had 2 strikes on a batter 3 or 4 different times before they lost it.
Hernandez can't throw 2 strikes back to back.
Well, I mean, see the sinking action, but it sinks right out of the zone.
3-1 on Oquendo, and he'll probably take here. And he walks.
Yeah, you know, Oquendo's going to get on base. That's the bad thing of the line drive, double play.
Costly base running. That has cost the Cardinals at least 1 base runner in this inning. And 1 precious out. Mark Whitten will pinch hit for Murphy, who pitched 2 innings, allowed no runs on 1 hit. Struck out 1, walked none, did very well. Whitten taking, looks at ball 1.
Hernandez doesn't look that confident for a reliever that's tied for 2nd in the National League with 9 saves.
Frank Rehberger sees the same thing along with Rene Latchman. Rehberger comes out and Yorkis Perez starts to loosen for the Marlins in their bullpen.
This is the first outing for Hernandez in this 3-game series. They had the day off just like the Cardinals on Thursday. That's the key. If you swing at his sinking fastball, you're going to make outs. But if you make him throw strikes and elevate it into the hitting zone, maybe Mark Whitten can give the Cardinals renewed hope.
If Whitten can reach, the tying run would come up in the person of Ray Lankford. Ball and a strike on Whitten. And Whitten did not like the call.
It's an awful tough pitch right there. It's not over yet.
1-2 pitch. Kendo will get down to 2nd base on the ball that gets away from Santiago. You know, it looks like nothing on a play like that, but on a diving stop by an infielder, that can make the difference between the end of the game and the inning continuing.
That's right.
Not ruled on it. That could go either way, either a wild pitch or pass ball. Cardinals down by 3, 9th inning, and 1 on, 2 out, and a 2-2 count on Whitten. That's ripped into right. That baby is up against the wall. Witten will get into second base. Oquendo scores, and it's a 2-run game.
See, that's the point. Getting double up on the line drive, and Mark Witten made him throw him a strike. Oquendo getting to second base was key also, because then it allowed him to score. Watch this pitch. It's up, and then it was hammered.
A costly base running mistake made by Jordan in this inning.
He hit the ball hard enough to hit it out of the ballpark. He just didn't elevate it. Goes off the base of the right field wall. And now Langford represents the tying run at home plate.
Witten at second, 2 out. Strike 1.
Doing the breaking ball there. Rays had a tough day, but that triple scored 2 runs, but that triple to lead it off, home run here would cap it off in a wonderful way.
Strike 2. Cardinals down to their last strike. Pinch hit RBI double by Witten. Langford backed up at 0-2. Ray has already struck out 3 times today, trying to put the ball in play. Ripped into right. That'll score Witten. Langford gets to first with a 2-out RBI hit, and the Cardinals have the tying run on. Langford drives in his 23rd of the year. How big are those 2 runs given by Habian, and how big is that base running mistake by Jordan?
Well, it still can all be forgotten with a couple more hits. Breaking ball this time laced into right field. Witten scores. It's a 1-run ball game. Down to 1 out left. Twice now the Cardinals have been 1 strike away from defeat.
It's as much the same feel in reverse as what happened in Montreal last Sunday.
Exactly. There are 3 times the Cardinals were 1 strike away from victory. They lost that game. The Marlins twice in this game have been away from victory 2 different times.
1-1 on Alicea. Well, here's his chance to hit for the cycle. He lacks the home run, and a home run here would put the Cardinals out in front.
Try and get a single. Trying to hit the ball hard, continue the inning. That's his best bet of hitting a home run.
Got the corner, snap throw, Langford back, and again Cardinals are down to their last strike. Alicea has had a marvelous day, but it's up to this last at bat. The Cardinals are going to win or lose here in Florida.
3 times the fans have been on their feet. This is the 3rd time. The first 2 they were disappointed. Fewer and fewer standing up.
Alicea up the middle, a late break by Abbott. Langford will stop at second, and the Cardinals will bring Jeffries to the plate. And did you see what I saw? Abbott started to his right, spun his feet, and couldn't get to that ball to his left.
5 hits on the day for Mr. Alicea. And you're right, Abbott, the pitch was a fastball away, and he hits it back up the middle, but the shortstop initial step was see where he started to break towards his right, and then he had to reverse direction and couldn't get there. He was spinning his wheels, as you said.
Cards are down by a run, have 2 on, 2 out for Jeffries. Ball 1.
Greg, the last time out he struck out, he was really upset with himself. He can atone for everything right here.
Good speed on the bases. Langford and Alicea, 2 out. 2-0. Seal on deck, and Seal could atone for a subpar day. Well, the Cardinals have the right hitters up, and that's all you can ask for with a chance to tie or take the lead.
Boy, you can't say enough about the offense today.
They scored 8 runs, but so far that's not enough. They need 1 or 2 more. 2 on, 2 out, ball 3. And Hernandez hasn't looked comfortable since he got the final out in the 8th inning.
Well, he's not the pitcher of a confident, aggressive closer. He's done the job for Latchman, but today he's struggling. Joe Torre hopes he struggles a little longer.
3-0 pitch.
Now, I think Greg would rather hit with this 3-1 count.
2 on, 2 out, 9-8 Marlins, top of the 9th. Late swing, full count, and the runners will take off with his next pitch.
That's even better. 4th time there. The Marlins are 1 strike from victory. 4th time they're on their feet. And now, as you mentioned, Joe, the key, it's a running count. 3-2, so they will all be in a running gear. An extra base hit, and Alicea easily scores from first.
That's ripped into right, a fair ball. The tying run scores. Here comes Alicea. They bring him around. The throw is to third. The Cardinals have taken the lead. Jeffries is out, but the Cardinals lead 10-9. That ends the top of the 9th, but it's a 2-run double, and Jeffries has delivered. And the Cardinals score 4 in the top of the 9th. Bottom half rolls around, and the Cardinals lead it 10-9. Joe Torre saw his team come from 2 out and nobody on in the top of the 9th inning to scoring 4, capped off on a 2-out, 2-run double by Greg Jeffries. Here is what put the Cardinals on top.
Running count, the 3-2 pitch, hits it into the right field corner. There you see Langford. He's going to score easy. He's running on it. Comes all the way in. He scored. Bucky's jumping up with enthusiasm. That's a tying run. Here's the winning run. The most important thing is he crosses the plate. Jeffries was thrown out at third, but so what? We got a lead.
First of the day since the 1st inning, and Mike Perez in to try to close it. Would help in the bullpen if he should need it. Looking for save number 9. The number 7 hitter Abbott leading off.
But look at the determination on his face.
Jeffries a play maybe. 1 row deep, but Greg takes a spill. The count 0-2.
That's what you got to love about him. Plays this game with a lot of intensity. I don't mind ever seeing him slam a helmet, breaking a bat or anything. This guy comes to play, and he plays with emotion. I mean, not always with intelligence, but you know, but I like it.
He's a beauty. 0-2 quickly on Abbott, leading off. Slider, see ya. Lead off, strikeout, and Abbott is gone.
Now Mike Perez watching. We talked about Hernandez, how his mentality. Look at, he wants that ball back so quickly. There's a slider. He's been having a lot of trouble with that one. Joe Torre has done a great job staying with him, trying to show him how much confidence he has in Perez's abilities, and rightfully so. Now Perez wants it. He's had trouble with the left-handers.
Here's a strike into Barbary, the switch hitting second baseman.
And look at the determination. Joe is just force fed him and everything, and says, I haven't lost any faith with you. You were hurt. That's why you lost your release point a little bit. There. Now he's throwing that changeup to the left-handers. He almost got into a pattern of throwing strictly fastballs down and away, not throwing that changeup. That's what the pitch he needed.
0-2 to Barbary. Wouldn't chase. Good pitch. Ball 1. On deck is Dave Magadan, who will hit for the pitcher, Hernandez. 1 out, nobody on. A 1-run Cardinal lead. Barbary up with a 1-2 count. He's hit by a pitch, and the tying run is on. He didn't make any effort to get out of the way of that pitch.
Well, see, that's the problem, you know, and I'm surprised that Latchman hadn't come out here and say, hey, he should go. But I mean, hitters today have they just feel that there's no way they're going to throw inside at a guy. So they dive out of the plate. They don't move or spin away from a ball inside. Got him in right on the elbow. They're trying to throw the fastball in on him. And look at that. He strides right into the ball. The last second he tries to pull away. But his first instincts is to move right into the pitch.
So the tying run is on with 1 out, and Barbary will stay in the game. And Perez will face a couple of left-handed hitters now. Magadan, barring the double play, switch hitting outfielder Everett.
Joe Torre needs a big bottle of Roll H today with this one.
Dave Magadan digs in.
He'd get a ground ball. It's a double play.
He's hit 1 home run this year, in case you wonder. Cardinals have Rene Arocha up again in their bullpen in case Perez needs some help here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Arocha has appeared in 6 of the 8 games on this road trip.
2-0 now on Magadan. Perez got a save in the first game of this series, number 8. It was not without trouble. He did give up 2 hits in that inning, got around it. Now he's hit a batter ahead on the count. That makes it double tough, and he's behind on the count to Magadan. 2-0. Cardinals leading 10-9, bottom of the 9th inning, and Mike Perez trying to close it down and make Rob Murphy a winner. Magadan now, and the rookie Everett on deck. 3-0. And now he's back. It looks like he's a little timid again.
You're right. You're right. But he did the proper thing right there. I like that. Go have a little pep talk with yourself. Get refocused, come out and be aggressive. Got to throw strikes to Magadan. He's got a good eye.
3-1.
You got the stuff that Mike Perez has. You can induce a ground ball, 1 pitch, and the game can be over. Jerry McGriff saying, come on, let's go. And go with the fastball.
Double play ball, maybe. Oquendo to Pena, over to first. Cardinals win, and they sweep the Marlins on a 6-4-3 double play. Perez gets his 9th save, and what a great job, Al, by Pena to turn that double play back at second base.
You're right. Pena did a little bit of Ozzie going straight up. Magadan is slow of foot. He didn't really have to do it, but he was going to make sure. Right here, positive right there, up over the top, on top with his throw, and beats him clearly. Look at these guys. They know this was a big win. 6-3 road trip. The way it started out, that's fantastic.
A 6-3 trip and a sweep in Florida. 4 runs in the 9th inning, wins it for the Cardinals 10-9. Back to wrap it in a moment.